If you've ever been relieved that we made it to football day, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. Big day today. It's football day. The first football game is back. It's the MLB trade deadline. We had a ton of earnings. We have to react to the Fed. We got Louis Navellier coming on. Oh, yeah, and we got the Figma IPO today. So hopefully y'all got rested last night and you're ready to go today. This is likely going to be the biggest day of the week. We're going to go ahead and break down everything. It is Thursday, July 31st, the last day of July. Benzinga's pre-market playbook for today begins right now. Good morning and welcome back, folks. Happy Thursday morning. I hope that you all had a great Wednesday evening and a great rest of your Wednesday. If you made a bunch of money on the Fed, kudos to you. I'll tell you what, y'all folks that were sniping Pan W yesterday, really, really good stuff. In fact, we're going to start out with a communal register ring today because that was an awesome trade called live here by multiple members. Absolutely stoked about it. Great to see a whole bunch of returning faces here today. We are going to have fun here today. I woke up on the right side of the bed, that's for sure. Jane, good morning. Welcome back. Pete, good morning. Locked in. Yassine, good morning. Ryan, can we take a look at ARM and Qualcomm? Surprised it went down. Yeah, let me add those here to the list, Yassine. We'll get to that shortly before the open. We obviously focused on Meta and Microsoft and Robinhood for the earnings reports, but absolutely, we can take a look at those stocks. Yassine, good morning. Welcome back. Day trader, good morning. Happy Fig Day. I think day traders getting ready to trade Fig here today. Figma, of course, IPOing today, priced above its average range. I got a breakdown for that with some, let's call it explosive commentary on it. We'll see how it trades here today. Sun-Kissed Yogi, good morning. Welcome back. It's good to see you. Edro, good morning. Blazed Rhino, welcome back. Cam, welcome back. Cam says, Meta made me pretty happy yesterday. That's what I want to hear, Cam. Congratulations. That's awesome. You should have seen 13's face when Microsoft reported their earnings and just started blasting off. Absolutely awesome. Durkus, good morning. Welcome back. Empyrean, welcome. Good to see you again. Day trader saying Fig should open at least 33. Okay, I wouldn't be surprised if it was higher than that, to be honest with you, day trader. By the time we get there, we'll see. By the way, I don't know what time that's going to be. I would imagine it's probably going to be around 11, maybe 11:30 Eastern, but I don't know for sure. So keep your eyes and ears peeled for that, as they say. That's probably an old saying, but you know what I mean. Special K, good morning. Welcome back. Producer, I know you're locked in and ready to go. Zach McCracken's locked in and ready to go. Welcome back. Francis, good morning. Kel, good morning. Bernhard, good morning. ATL Russ, good morning. Chad, good morning. Quantum, good morning. Chuck, Sideshow, and Tanya, good morning. Sorry, Sideshow. Jak się masz? I'm dobrze, bardzo dobrze, you might say. Kevin, welcome back. It's good to see you again. Von Rivera, absolutely love that handle. Welcome back. Javon, welcome back. JJ, welcome back. EKS, great to see you as always, man. Good morning. Sudaram, welcome back. Good morning. White Chocolate Mocha's here. We can start. That's what I wanted to see. Chris, good morning. And Eli, good morning. And Zoo, good morning. Nice to see you. By the way, I didn't mention this like I have been. Jane, first here today. First comment here today. Let's go, Jane. Early bird getting the worm. Peter, good morning. It's good to see you again as well. All right, let's dive into what's going on here. We do have a lot to cover. We're going to go ahead and get started. Here's your SPY. Now, I'm going to do a very, very small and short victory lap because I don't know what's in store for today. But if you recall, the past couple of weeks here, when we've really started to trade up, I said, yeah, 630 to 640 really seems like the spot where SPY could go to. Well, guess what? That's the range that we're in here. We actually printed 641.57 in the pre-market. We've backed off those highs a little bit, so we'll see what happens when we open here. It might go above 640, and I might be wrong here pretty soon. So I got to get that victory lap in before that happens. But in any case, we did trade up to the 640-ish area. Looking at the SPY chart here, it does look like we want to trade higher. We'll see if we have enough to do that on the backs of some of those really impressive earnings last night. We've also been talking about how option sellers have really been winning these earnings prints. Well, Meta and Microsoft were like, hold my beer. we're going to take this AI theme and we're going to make sure that the option buyers get some type of reward. And that's exactly what we saw and what we're going to see here today. So I'm curious to see how much impact that has on the rest of the market and where we end up going. I'm also interested to see how Figma trades and how investors allocate risk to a new issue like that. So should be pretty good. As far as downside here, I'm still looking at that 20-day moving average. I still feel the same. If we trade back down to the 20-day, whether it's today, tomorrow, or someday in the future, if we trade down to that level and we hold it, it actually should make a pretty decent attempt at a swing long or an indicator for a swing long on something else. So kind of what I'm looking for here. We're going to keep pushing up. We'll see if we have another positive day. We've also been talking about how it's really kind of felt like a sell the news environment when we got some of these deals. Well, we got a South Korea deal last night while we were live on the webinar with Tim and Anne Marie. And so all you ladies that buy Korean skincare products, you don't have to worry anymore. It looks like those are going to be unaffected. So in any case, a lot of good news here. We'll see if the market actually takes another leg up or if it kind of sells this news like it has the last two times. Okay. Brent, Austin, and Big Bees, good morning. Kerching. Oh, here we go. Kerching, good morning. Florida Yacht Insurance Guy, good morning. Okay. And Eli, good morning. Yeah, Sunkissed Yogi says, yep, it did challenge that 640 call. Well, that's the other thing. Oh, and I forgot to do that. We're also, as if today is not going to get any more busy, we're also going to have Markets and Mayhem join us again. So we'll take a look at some of those call walls, Sunkissed Yogi, and we'll see if we hopped any of those walls to a higher range. I actually forgot to send the link for today. Let me go ahead and do that here. We will see him during the regular session. So really good stuff. Thank you for the reminder. Okay. Aid is saying, hello, can you help with a free account or a demo account? I can't right now because I'm hosting a show, obviously, but yes, someone on our team can absolutely do that. You can start a trial. Actually, let's see. I might even have that link handy here because I just did a webinar yesterday. Here we go. This is for BZ Pro. Here's the trial link. You could start with this. Otherwise, you should reach out to James. And by the way, if you want more than one service, you should definitely reach out to James and see if there is a deal that you can get. Okay, let's roll through some of the news here real quick. We're going to start with the market update. President Trump announced on Wednesday that the United States has reached a full and complete trade deal with the Republic of Korea worth $450 billion. Jerome Powell announced that the Fed's Reserve Open Market Committee's decision to keep the interest rates unchanged on Wednesday, with Bowman and Waller dissenting on the decision. Now, we have been talking about this leading up to the decision. We got exactly what we thought was going to happen here. So no surprises, at least no surprises yet. And this was the first dual dissent from the Fed board members since 1933. I've been watching CNBC this morning. They've been talking about this a little bit. Doesn't really seem like it's that big of a deal. Notable, but is it really a big deal? We'll see. And then obviously we had some pretty huge earnings last night, and that is going to continue tonight. So just as a reminder, as we keep going through here, here's your earnings calendar for today. We did have some here this morning, but perhaps more importantly, we're going to have Apple, Cloudflare, MicroStrategy, Amazon, Coinbase later tonight. So really, really big stuff on deck still here for later today. Now, looking at some insights, Brian Reeling, the head of global fixed income strategy at Wells Fargo, said that the market sentiment is favorable for risk assets, but things can always change. He advised the investors to, quote, consider rebalancing portfolios to take advantage of all-time highs in many markets. He highlighted that risk assets continue to hit new milestones, underscoring a resilient economy. The S&P 500, NASDAQ Composite, and Bitcoin recently hit new all-time highs. Quote, it's hard to find a risk asset that has not done well this year, with major indexes up significantly year to date, highlighting a favorable backdrop for investors. And that's true. I'll tell you what, the folks that sat out from the beginning of April till now, ouch, because you missed a lot of handles and a lot of potential profit there. He said, quote, corporate earnings have exceeded expectations at the highest rate in recent years, particularly in technology and healthcare. Recent trade developments including deals with the European Union and Japan and now Korea, have helped alleviate some global trade uncertainties, supporting market sentiment. Additionally, the Federal Reserve is likely to lower interest rates this fall. That's kind of the question that I want to get to here today. I'd like to get some opinions on that if you think that's going to be the case. Anyway, the Federal Reserve is likely to lower interest rates this fall, which would be conducive to growth, encouraging business expansion and consumer spending. Overall, these elements, as per Reeling, paint an encouraging picture for risk assets where innovation in areas like artificial intelligence continue to drive value creation. However, he highlighted that, quote, markets do not rise indefinitely without interruptions. Periodic pullbacks, such as corrections of 10% or more, are a normal part of the cycle and occur somewhat regularly, end quote. And I know that it's hard, when you're sitting in that, it's like, oh no. But when you take a step back from it, you realize that this is just kind of normal. Seems less normal when the market continues to trade up every day, especially on low volume. Meanwhile, Ryan Dietrich of Carson Research highlighted in a memo that one of the most popular economic indicators is the Confidence Board's Leading Economic Index, or LEI, and it currently points to a recession. However, he pointed out that this index did not reflect the overall economy and cited his own proprietary LEI. Quote, right now, our version of the LEI says the U.S. economy is growing below trend, i.e. it's slowing, but the index is nowhere close to recession-like levels, at least for now. So we'll see how any of that stuff changes. Now, we talked a little bit there about the Fed. Odds of zero Fed rate cuts in 2025 surged to 25% as Jerome Powell's press conference. After Jerome Powell's press conference, rate cuts are being priced out of the market. And this is kind of what I want to get from folks. How many rate cuts do you think? And when do you think those are going to come? The probability that the Federal Reserve could keep interest rates unchanged throughout 2025 surged on Wednesday following Chair Jerome Powell's latest remarks, adding a fresh uncertainty to the outlook for monetary policy. It really did seem like, going through the statement and listening to him, that he did everything he could to not tip the hand that, hey, there's likely to be a rate cut in September. I know a lot of us were kind of looking for that. We wanted to see if he was hawkish or dovish. In my view, he was more hawkish than I assumed, or than I expected, and it does seem like he just kind of tried whatever he could do to tiptoe around that and not let the market really kind of think that there's a cut in September. So I want to hear from you folks what you think there. On Wednesday, in a post on X, the Kobesi letter highlighted the surging odds of there being zero rate cuts in 2025 in the prediction market Kalshi. Quote, the odds of the Fed cutting rates 0 times in 2025 surged to 25% after Powell's press conference, it says, amid an increasingly hawkish tone by the Fed chair. I would agree with the Kobesi letter here. Before Powell's press conference, markets had placed higher odds on 2 rate cuts. But as of the latest update, quote, the odds of 2 rate cuts have fallen from 40 to 33%, and the odds of 1 rate cut are up from 24 to 27%. Day trader here says, I'm in the 0-1 camp. Does that mean you think there's 1 rate cut coming? You're not going to get it in September, and you are going to get it in December? Let me know. Okay. Ed saying 0 cuts. Jerome Powell would rather crash us than see Trump win. Interesting take. We did see Trump woke up and chose violence this morning. If you take a look at his Truth Social post, he's back at prodding Powell. I still don't think that means anything or that's going to do anything, but we'll see how it shakes out here. That shift in sentiment suggests traders or investors are increasingly skeptical that the central bank will deliver anything or any significant easing. The post concludes by saying, quote, rate cuts are being priced out of the market. Despite moments of relentless pressure from President Trump to cut interest rates, the Federal Reserve Open Market Committee has decided to hold interest rates steady at 4.25 to 4.5 in its July decision on Wednesday. 2 permanent members of the board, Bowman and Waller, both appointed by Trump, dissented during the meeting, arguing in favor of an immediate 25 basis point rate cut. This marks the first dissent in the FOMC since 1993. Now, Powell was asked about this, and he said that it's actually healthy. And the meeting was healthy, and everything that went in there was healthy. So it seems much ado about nothing, at least from Powell's perspective, or at least what he told us. Economist Mohammed El-Arian said that Powell sounds more hawkish than many expected on the outlook for policy rates. I would completely agree with that. Okay. let's talk about Meta here. We're actually going to start with the Meta chart. How about that? Because we get to appreciate what this looks like. Here is your Meta chart. We are up 11.7% here today. And as mentioned, oh no. And as mentioned, sorry, I don't know why this isn't working for Meta. Man, I'm going to have to go back to the story here. Let me just report this. Okay, let me just go back to the story here again. I'm sorry, I don't know what's happening here with the chart. Meta beats Q2 earnings estimates. Meta reported second quarter financial results after the market closed on Wednesday. Here's a rundown of that report. Meta reported second quarter revenue of $47.52 billion, beating analyst estimates of $44.58 billion. That's according to Benzinga Pro. The company reported second quarter earnings of $7.14 per share, beating analyst estimates of $5.79 per share. Oh my God. What just a big beat there. Total revenue was up 22% on a year-over-year basis. Family daily active people climbed 6% year-over-year to 3.48 billion, and ad impressions jumped 11% year-over-year. And average price per ad increased by 9% year-over-year. So just absolutely blowing it out there. Operating margins totaled 43%, which is up 38% in the prior quarter. Costs and expenses came in at $27 billion, which is up 12% year over year. We would expect that with the AI move. Capital expenditures, including principal payments on finance leases, came in at $17 billion. Meta noted its headcount was up 7% year over year to 76,000, just about, as of June 30th. Meta generated $25.56 billion in cash flow from operations and $8.55 billion in free cash flow during the quarter. The company ended the quarter with $47.07 billion in cash and cash equivalent and marketable securities. Quote, "We've had a strong quarter, both in terms of our business and community. I'm excited to build personal super intelligence for everyone in the world." Super intelligence, a new mention there. And that came from Zuckerberg. The guidance here: Meta expects third quarter revenue to be in the range of $47.5 billion to $50.5 billion versus the estimate of $45 billion. So in addition to the huge beat, actually got a huge guidance boost there. And that explains why the stock is just absolutely popping here today. Let's see. Let me go back. I lost my place there. Sorry about that. Meta expects full year 2025 expenses to be in the range of $114 to $118 billion. The company anticipates full year capital expenditures of $66 to $72 billion. Quote, "While we are not providing an outlook for fourth quarter revenue, we would expect our year over year growth rate in the fourth quarter for 2025 to be slower than the third quarter as we lap a period of stronger growth in the fourth quarter of 2024. Meta's management team also had the conference call, and that continued to trade up from there. So Meta, just a huge beat here. Let me see if I can go back there. Let's see if that was just a temporary thing. Oh, look at that. Just a little temporary hiccup here in the morning. All right. So here's where this is the craziest part about this entire thing. The chart basically had this rolling over and retesting a pretty key support area. We were testing the trend line. And for those of you that are here every day, you've seen how these trend lines have really, really come into play, whether it be a trend line break or a trend line support or something like that. We were getting that again here. And that trend line just so happened to line up pretty well with the 50-day moving average. And today, well, plus 80 points. We are up here 775. This is going to be a new all-time high. We are breaking above this. Giddy up. This is just an absolutely huge report. And the RSI was kind of in the middle of the channel. So my thought here is that this might actually continue for a little bit. Maybe we get a little profit taking here on Meta, especially in the morning. But this run, after a quality report like that, you can see some more legs to this run. So really, really just a blowout report. Meta holding higher by 11.5% here this morning, up 80 points. And look at the chart. We came off this really important area here. So just a huge, huge move. Now, let's see if the chart is going to cooperate and give us the Microsoft chart to start with. Indeed, it is. Look at this move on Microsoft. The huge gap up from April 30th. I believe this was their last earnings, and this thing has just been melting up, staying above the 20-day moving average all the way to the highs here. You would think to yourself, well, this kind of ran into earnings, so maybe this pulled back. No, it didn't. Microsoft plus 8.23% here today. Again, option buyers winning this print as we continue to pop the highs. Stock is at 555. I have to readjust my chart. I didn't even have enough upside movement here. Here you go. Here is 555.50. If 5 is your lucky number, take a drink or go buy a lottery ticket or something. Huge pop here on Microsoft. Now, let's dive into the actual report here itself. They reported fourth quarter financial results after the close, and they reported revenue of $76.44 billion, which was up 17% year over year. The total revenue beat a street consensus of $73.8 billion, according to data from Benzinga Pro. The company reported fourth quarter earnings per share of $3.65, beating street consensus of $3.37. They reported revenue by segment. Productivity and business processes, $33.1 billion. That's plus 16% year over year. Intelligent cloud, $29.9 billion, plus 26% year over year. And more personal computing, $13.5 billion. That was plus 9% year over year. Immediate takeaway from the Microsoft print here and the cloud computing beat and numbers that they posted here. That absolutely should be good for Amazon and Amazon Web Services, which we get here tonight. So just a monster report here. I definitely want to see how Microsoft trades here today. But again, Amazon was up on the back of this report. No surprise there. The company reported that Microsoft 365 commercial cloud revenue increased 18% year over year. Microsoft 365 consumer cloud revenue was up 20% year over year in the quarter. With the intelligent cloud segment, revenue from Azure and cloud services increased by 39% year over year. Just absolute monster numbers. Good morning, Mayhem. Microsoft, as he's saying here, Microsoft's cloud growth, very, very impressive. Google's cloud growth and investment also encouraging for Amazon. So probably expecting some numbers out there. We'll see if that gets priced in today's session. Xbox content and services revenue was up 13% year over year in the quarter. Overall, cloud revenue was $46.7 billion in the quarter, representing a 27% year over year increase across various segments. The company's full fiscal year revenue was at $281.7 billion. That's up 15% year over year. And full year earnings per share were $13.64. That's up 16% year over year. Quote, cloud and AI is the driving force of business transformation across every industry and sector, end quote. That comes from Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella, who goes on to say, we're innovating across the tech stack to help customers adapt and grow in this new era. Nadella said Azure surpassed $75 billion revenue milestone for the full fiscal year, representing a 34% year over year increase. The company will provide an update. It did on its earnings call. I'm sorry, I keep reading that. Just monster here for Microsoft. Monster move for Microsoft. Again, I want to see if any of this gets priced in for Amazon here today. I want to see where Microsoft goes. Mayhem, I can't wait to see if we jump any of these call walls and go higher. Should give us an idea of where that range might be. All right, next we can talk about Robinhood. See if we can go back to the chart, see if we're getting cooperation from our own tech stack. Indeed, we are. Here's your Robinhood chart. Now, this really did kind of seem like it was priced to perfection. Robinhood down about 2% here today, but that doesn't really tell the full story because initially Robinhood popped after reporting these earnings. It did come back in. Now it's drifting a little bit lower. So part of me wonders if this is just it's had its run. It really needs a pullback. Maybe we do get some support around that round 100 number. We have the 20-day moving average sitting there at 100.89. And frankly, even if it breaks down through that 20-day, a pullback down to this 85-ish, 84.5 to 85 level, I want to call this consolidation, even though it was 3 days, but it was 3 days of sideways trading here for Robinhood, which seems to be in the minority camp there. So we'll see if 85 represents another downside level, if it does, in fact, break through that 20-day, if it's unable to hold it. One other thing to keep an eye out for here, if you're looking at Hood for a trade, if you're looking to enter for a new trade, a dip beneath this 20-day and a recapture, I think within 3 sessions, might actually provide another move to the upside. So that's something else you can watch here on Hood. Let's take a look at some of the numbers. I know Vlad was on CNBC this morning, but I was preparing and couldn't catch all of it. Robinhood reported second quarter earnings revenue of $989 million. That's up 45% year over year. The revenue beat a street consensus estimate of $898.95 million. My God, they beat it by almost $100 million. Big beat there too. The company's transaction-based revenue was up 65% year over year to $539 million. And it breaks down as follows. Option revenue up 46% year over year at $265 million. Cryptocurrencies revenue, $160 million. That's up 98% year over year. 98%, just huge. Equities revenue, $66 million. That's plus 65% year over year. So interesting thing here, options, the biggest trade here at Robinhood, at least by revenue. Cryptocurrency coming in second, and old-fashioned equities, if we can say that, coming in third there. The company reported earnings per share of 42 cents, beating the street consensus estimate of 29 cents. Robinhood ended the quarter with 26.5 million funded customers, which was up 10% year over year. Investment accounts were up 10% year over year in the quarter to 27.5 million. The company's total platform assets were 99% year over year, up to 279 billion. Net deposits, 13.8 billion. Robinhood entered the quarter with a record 3.5 million Robinhood Gold subscribers. The company bought back $124 million in shares during the quarter at an average price of $41.52. Their buyback was at $41.52. The current stock price is over $100. Oh, man. Robinhood closed its acquisition of Bitstamp on June 30th. Bitstamp trading volumes reached $7 billion following the acquisition's closure in June of 2025. Robinhood app crypto notional trading volumes reached $28 billion for the quarter. That represents a 32% year-over-year increase. Vlad, quote, "We delivered strong business results in Q2." Yeah, you think? We delivered strong business results in Q2 driven by relentless product velocity, and we launched tokenization, which I believe is the biggest innovation in our industry, or our industry has seen in the past decade. Whew. Good morning, Sassy Butterfly Chick, Big Bees, Captain Cloudy, Ahmed, Phillip, and Crimp Biscuit, and anyone else that I might have missed. Thanks for joining us here this morning. Robinhood said it expects the acquisition of WonderFi. Let me know if I got that one right. To close in the second half of the fiscal year. Quote, "Q3 is off to a great start in July as customers accelerated their net deposits to around $6 billion and leaned in with strong trading across categories." That came from Jason Warnick, Robinhood's chief financial officer. The company stated that it anticipates full-year adjusted operating expenses and share-based compensation to be within a range of $2.15 billion to $2.25 billion. This is up from the previous range of $2.08 billion to $2.18 billion. And this was related to the Bitstamp acquisition, which closed in that quarter. So Ryan here saying he's right on tokenization. Just because of the amount of time, we actually had another story here on this. I didn't think we were going to have time for it, but here's what we'll do. Ryan, I'll go ahead and throw this in the chat here for you, and I'll also load it up here. Oh, I actually have it here. You know what? Let me just go to it. We're still good on time, so let me actually just go to that right now. CEO Vlad Tenev expressed a positive outlook towards the future of equity tokenization in the U.S. on Wednesday, despite the potential regulatory hurdles that may arise. During the company's second quarter earnings call, Tenev said that the real opportunity in the U.S. lies in tokenizing assets that were previously inaccessible, such as private markets and real-world assets. Think about SpaceX in this case. Quote, "We're working with regulators to make that possible. We need to look at accreditation laws. We're also on a good path with securities tokenization, but that has to continue, and we think we can unlock that opportunity." Tenev viewed that as more infrastructure moves from centralized legacy counterparties to blockchain. The cost of operating the business would decrease, eventually benefiting customers. When asked if tokenized securities would have any effect on spot cryptocurrency prices, Tenev said, "I don't think that we're likely to see any impact. We just don't feel like there's much of a connection between how customers are even thinking about pricing in these various asset classes." Robinhood unveiled a suite of products during its event in France for its European customers, the highlight of which was a blockchain-powered tokenized equities of companies like OpenAI and SpaceX. The offerings, however, ran into controversy, as they say across the pond, after OpenAI denied involvement with Robinhood regarding them. Robinhood has been building a case to tokenize private stocks, encouraging policymakers to explore the untapped potential of blockchain in U.S. capital markets. In May, it proposed a federal framework to the SEC, bringing real-world assets on-chain. The company reported its second quarter financials after the market closed, with crypto revenue nearly doubling. The overall revenue rose 45% year over year, beating analyst expectations. Robinhood shares dipped about 0.5% in after-hours trading after closing 2.77% higher. As we mentioned here today, Robinhood has extended that pull down here. It's down just shy of 2%. Here today. So, Ryan, let me know. To me, I'll be honest, if I, just kind of thinking of my own personal situation here, being a Schwab client now and using Thinkorswim, they don't have that tokenization option. And if Robinhood just kind of released that and you told me, well, Ryan, you can actually invest in SpaceX right now or OpenAI right now, maybe opening a Robinhood account would actually be something I'd look at, since I can't do it here. Now, I do think competition eventually will even the playing field. But if you want to be first or you want to be in early, might have to either move or open a new account for Robinhood there. So, Ryan, I know you like this on tokenization. Let me know if if any other folks here like that, or if you dislike that. Looks like we're actually getting a data print here. Let me go to that real quick. All right. U.S. core PCE prices for June 2.8 versus the 2.7 estimate, slightly hot there. USA PCE price index year over year for June 2.6 versus the 2.5 estimate. Initial jobless claims 218,000 versus the 222,000. U.S. core PCE price index month over month for June in line there, 0.3 versus the 0.3 estimate. Perceived Shift is asking, Ryan, you work for SpaceX? No, I don't. That would be cool, but I don't think I'm a rocket scientist. I don't know what role I would even have at SpaceX. What I'm talking about is the ability to invest in SpaceX before it even becomes public by using Robinhood's tokenized investment method. So sorry for the confusion there. While we're here, I forgot to do this earlier. Let me go ahead and do this now real quick. I did want to take a look at the morning update, and that will actually be a great segue into the Figma IPO, which I know you all are waiting for here today. So we just got the core PCE. We just got the data prints that we were listening to, or that we were waiting for. We do have the market still holding on to green here. S&P futures up 0.9 here this morning. Dow futures up 0.2, and the NASDAQ futures up 1.3%. So NASDAQ clearly leading the way higher on the back of the earnings reports from yesterday. Looking at the IPOs, okay, we do have a couple here. Now, I'm going to start with FIG. FIG priced between 30 and 32. Day trader, you were saying that FIG looks like it's going to open above 33. I wonder what that will actually settle out to before it opens. I wonder what the actual opening print will be. But we do have some other IPOs here today. BCAR, D-Boral ARC, this priced at 10. This is going to IPO here today. They also have a unit that's IPOing. Shoulder Innovations, ticker SI, this price between 19 and 21. That's going to IPO here today. And Quantum Sphere Acquisition Company.
Okay, this priced here at 10. That IPO is here today. They also have a warrant IPO there. So this one, I'm not necessarily interested in day one, but I am interested to see what this does, how this trades. Does this trade along with the quantum sector? Does it do anything for the quantum stocks that we've traded quite a bit here? Kind of want to know all of that. So we'll see if we get that here today. As far as company events, we're free. There's no company events. I think all these companies were smart enough to be like, yeah, we're not going to do an event on the day where football starts again. I'm just kidding. Only I'm crazy enough to do that. But no company events here today. We're just going to roll ahead with the earnings. We've got enough on our plate here today. We talked a little bit about the earnings. I showed you the calendar. Let's see. It looks like Comcast reported they're up 6% here today. Is that because of Love Island? Y'all folks will have to tell me. I wouldn't watch that. AbbVie here, they reported this morning they're up 5.6%, so that's pretty good. MasterCard, they reported before the market opens they're only up 1%, but nice little move higher there. And then, as mentioned, the big stuff is coming tonight, and we'll see how that ends up going. Okay, we did have some new initiations here. Let's talk about that. eBay here getting Morgan Stanley going to overweight here, giving it an $89 price target. Now eBay at 86.5, so not a whole lot of room there, at least according to the estimate. But this is up 11.6% here today. They actually might have reported earnings yesterday. Let me check on that here real quick. eBay they reported earnings yesterday, and they are continuing to trade up here. So that upgrade comes on the back of the earnings report. CoreWeave also getting an upgrade here from Morgan Stanley with a price target of 91. Okay, CoreWeave did not report earnings, but big boost there. CoreWeave up 12.3. CoreWeave up 12% here today, up $12.50. So CoreWeave, nice move there. We already talked about Meta's earnings. They are getting a market perform from BMO Capital with a 710 price target. Boy, they're a little bit behind. Meta ripping here, 775-ish. Western Digital getting an overrate from Morgan Stanley, price target of 92. The current price is 75. ANET, Arista Networks, this also getting an overweight rating from Morgan Stanley with $120 price target. Stocks at 125. Hershey. Pete, weren't you trading Hershey? Feel like this was a recent trade for you. Maybe I misread that. I don't know. Morgan Stanley moving to equal weight there, 189 price target. Currently just about 189, pretty much right at that price target there. CyberArk Software. This one's interesting here. We saw a deal in the cybersecurity sector yesterday. CyberArk, ticker CYBR here. This up 0.65%. They got a neutral rating from UBS and 485 price target. Yeah, Cam, my bird's in the other room, but he's listening to other birds waking up right now, so he's singing to them, and you might hear a little bit of that. He's definitely excited. Okay, when he woke up this morning, he was very, very excited. I don't know if it was the new seed or the stick that he got, or if it's the news, but nonetheless, he is excited. I didn't trade Hershey, just watched it last week. Okay, my apologies. Thought you were keeping an eye on that. Figured that we would mention that it had an upgrade here today. Downgrades. There were some. Align Technology here, ticker ALGN. This caught a downgrade. This is down 30%, 154 price target. Did they have earnings? There's so many. I'm not. Yeah. Align did report earnings after hours. They're actually up off of the lows. The overnight low was 126.85. We're currently at 141. So we did come off the low on that. We'll see if we return to the low on ticker ALGN, but they're getting an equal weight rating here from Morgan Stanley. UNH, which we talk about every single day. This getting an underperform from Baird with a 198 price target. Current stock price here, 261. This is down about 1.5%. We've been talking a lot about UNH. The spot that we're really looking for is 250. The actual number there, 248.88. So we'll see if that ends up moving back to that level there. CAR, this was a Jay Rice favorite. Jay Rice made a killing on this, called a lot of those trades live. This down 1% here on the back of the neutral rating from JP Morgan, price target 155. And KeyBank, went to sector weight on PanW. Now, Palo Alto here up 1%, but the real deal with Palo Alto was yesterday. It did bottom yesterday. You all folks were all over that. Really, really great stuff. And then CyberArk got a couple of downgrades here. Piper, Stiefel, and UBS going to neutral or hold, and they're keeping that price target in the anywhere between in the 440 handle and the 480 handle in the case of UBS. Okay. I think that does it here. Oh, Nucor, this got a buy from Jefferies. Just figured we mentioned that. This got a buy from Jefferies, 170 price target, current stock price, 143. All right, now let's go talk about the Figma IPO. Let's see, we don't have Louis yet. I'll see if we can. I'll see what's going on with that. But let's talk about Figma. This was my favorite part when I read the story here this morning. Figma could become a meme stock beyond all comprehension. Who's ready for this hype? Get some ones in the chat if you're ready for this hype here on Figma. We'll see how this trades. I suspect it's going to be fun. Warns Elon Musk's ex-product head, Nikita Beer. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Nikita Beer, head of product at Elon Musk's social media platform X, said on Thursday that Figma is, quote, going to be a meme stock beyond all comprehension. The prediction comes as the design platform prepares to begin trading on the New York Stock Exchange today. Bear, who also serves as an advisor to Solana, day trader, you'll have to let me know if this is important, also serves as an advisor to Solana, made the statement on X as institutional investors increasingly embrace social sentiment analytics for trading strategies. We talked about this yesterday. Talked about how hedge funds are really kind of tapped into this. We talked just kind of generally, we talked about really how since the GameStop issue, hedge funds, investment advisors, they're paying a little bit more attention to the social stuff, whether it be X or Reddit or Instagram or whatever it is. So it will be interesting to see how that shakes out with a brand new issue here on Figma. This is a widely used program. We use this here at Benzinga. It's fantastic for collaboration on new design and new ideas and actually building out products and building out features. So for what it does or for the role that it serves, I think it's excellent. And I wonder how hot this IPO is actually going to be. We will not have to wait much longer, thankfully. Figma priced its initial public offering at $33 per share on Wednesday, offering 36.9 million Class A common stock shares. The company plans to raise approximately $411 million from 12.5 million new shares, while existing stockholders will sell 24.5 million shares. Okay, I'm not aware of how he's working with Solana, but he's had a hot hand over the years, so that's fine with me. Okay, there you go, day trader. Really good stuff there. Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, Allen Company LLC, and JP Morgan are serving as the joint lead book running managers for the offering. The San Francisco-based company reported revenue of $749 million in 2024, marking 48% year-over-year growth. First quarter 2025 revenue reached $228.2 million. That's up 46% from the prior period. Figma's 4-year compounded annual revenue growth rate stands at 53%. The platform serves 95% of Fortune 500 companies. And this, I think, is one of the keys here. Like I said, the program itself is really awesome to understand. You can be a dummy like me and have someone just showing you a example of what they're building and what they're thinking, and it's just really, really good for all of that. I'm unsurprised to hear this number here. The platform serves 95% of Fortune 500 companies and 78% of Forbes Global 2000 firms. Major clients include Microsoft, Alphabet, Salesforce. You think those guys are going to pay their bills? I kind of do. Now, DJK here saying Fig insiders dumping a bunch of shares, not a good sign. So I'll say this. First of all, are they dumping all of their shares? Because a lot of these folks have an absolute ton, and this is a big payday for them, bringing them to a new economic class, frankly. So I'm unsurprised to see there's a little bit of profit taking there. But I caution you on that because rewind back to the CoreWeave IPO, where there were a number of insiders that were disappointed with the offering, and they actually lowered the price, and they lowered how many shares, and it didn't go well. A couple of insiders there were saying, I'm not happy with this. And then look what CoreWeave did. Absolutely went ham. So as far as the trade goes, I'm not sure. I want to see how it trades. Show me first. It's great to have the prediction of all of this, and that's fine, but show me that that's the case. Someone yesterday, maybe it was Wing Trader. I can't remember who it was, but someone yesterday said, hopefully we don't have another Voyager. And indeed, that is, I would second that. Hopefully the Figma IPO here is more like CoreWeave or Circle and less like Voyager. But again, show me. We'll see how it shakes out here. Let's see, I already read that. No, net dollar retention rate was 134% at the end of 2024. Wall Street embraces the meme stock analytics. Bear's prediction aligns with a broader Wall Street trend. Research shows 40% of hedge funds now use social sentiment analytics for trading strategies in 2025, compared to just 10% 3 years ago. Recent meme stock rallies have driven Open Door Technologies up 314% in the past month, while Kohl's gained 51% and Krispy Kreme rose 41%. That was the dork trade that we talked about. Figma's IPO follows the collapse of a $20 billion acquisition by Adobe due to regulatory concerns. The company's most recent private valuation reached $12.5 billion during 2024 secondary share sale. So DJK here, are you also worried, or do you think that some of those insiders were worried about the collapse of the Adobe acquisition? Maybe there was something behind the scenes there that we are just unaware of or didn't get out that is giving people hesitancy. You'll have to let me know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure on that one. But anyway, I am waiting for this IPO. I want to see how this thing trades here, and we'll go ahead and hopefully have a nice trading day with that. The one thing is that if I don't see any really good setup intraday, either because I miss it or just because it just doesn't really happen, I am going to kind of default to the 30-day quiet period that I've been talking to you folks about. I would imagine that, and we actually did see this with Voyager, for all of the struggles that IPO had, we actually did see it popped a little bit after the quiet period expired. So what I'm going to be doing is making a calendar reminder here for 30 days from now. And when that happens, we might think about taking a little position overnight with the hopes of either the company saying something or analyst coverage starting, and that hopefully will pop the stock. So one way or another, we'll figure out a way to trade Figma here today. I'm definitely interested in anyone's trades here today on Figma. I think the group, this is probably one of the big things that the group is waiting for here today. So please, as long as you're comfortable, don't be shy. Let us know how you're trading that. Smoke Tuna says, my prediction on the Figma IPO, I think it will be a bust. Reason could be AI might take over all of Figma's advantages. Okay, no one else has said that yet. Smoke Tuna, you would be first on that. Interesting. I will always take contrarian opinions on this show, that's for sure. Day Trader says, Fig insiders selling at IPO is fine with me. I'm sure a bunch of them worked for years for RSU shares and they want to get paid. I agree. When you have this type of humongous move, when you have this type of wealth creation for whatever it is that you're doing, I mean, just prudent risk management dictates that you should at least peel some of that off the table and put that money in your pocket. I mean, remember what Tim Melvin was talking about yesterday. When you get paid a dividend, even if the stock price goes down, they can't take your dividend back. Put that money in your pocket one way or another. Day Trader, I'm on the exact same side as you here. To me, this is a non-issue. Really, it depends on how it actually trades. Good morning, Jay. Great to see you again. Zach says, trading IPOs on opening day is gambling for me. Me too, Zach. That's one of the reasons why I want to make sure that the technicals really kind of line up for the trade that I'm looking for. If I'm late on it, I'm not going to be upset. I'm just going to wait for another opportunity, and I'll look ahead to the quiet period. Kathy says, I'm waiting to see if shares will be allocated to me. Interesting. So you tried to participate through your broker in this IPO. Kathy, do you figure that out when the stock actually opens for trading? Is that when you figure out if you get shares and how many shares you might get? Let me know. Where can acquire FIG for trading? Eli, any broker that taps into the U.S. market, or excuse me, allows you to trade the U.S. market, will allow you to trade Figma. In fact, it looks like the CEO for Figma is on CNBC right now, talking about that. By the way, ticker's FIG, in case you were unaware. Okay. Looks like we're having some trouble with the guest. If we can't get him, we'll reschedule that. That's no problem. Hang on. Back now. But I was hoping to do that here today. I'll keep you posted on all of that. There is one more thing. I didn't necessarily have this on the docket to discuss this morning. I wanted to discuss this after the market opened here today. But since we've talked about it quite a bit, we're going to talk about it right now. And that's going to be Ondas. ONDS here. Now, I was lamenting the trading action here recently on this. And if you take a look at the daily chart, which is what we're looking at now, obviously this is, let's call it less than ideal, right? Had a nice little move above the trend line. That move kind of stalled out. It had a pretty decent reversal candle here. We've really kind of been on the backside of this move, and it's just kind of been disappointing. We actually broke through the 20-day, and that sure made this look like this was going to be in trouble. Came down to basically the breakout spot from the trend line. But let's look inside at what happened yesterday. Ondas having a relatively mundane day, not really doing anything, and then all of a sudden, we had volume flowing in here. Now, I was watching this live, and I was watching the stock price jump. I was watching the volume bars draw and print and go absolutely crazy. I saw no news. I looked on X to see if there was anything that I was missing. I texted a couple of my buddies. I don't know what's going on here. Okay, straight up, I thought, maybe we'll get a PR in the after hours. Maybe we'll get a PR next day. No idea what's going on here. But what I will say here is that I've watched enough of these, and I thought that this felt like something was leaking. All right. This felt to me just based on and I could very easily be wrong here. So please understand that I am just speculating. Okay. But based on the trading action, the volume numbers, the size of the prints, the whole thing, it really kind of felt to me like something got leaked. Somebody knows something. I don't know what it is. I don't know when the rest of us are going to find out, but it sure felt like that in the moment. Now, carry forward to the after hours. We actually didn't break down. Okay. We didn't go crazy either, but we didn't break down. We're holding that into the pre-market today. And actually, we're up near the highs of this range here this morning. Now, I still haven't found any piece of news on this. So still, I don't know what's going on, but the action here today, again, the volume was tremendous. It kind of came out of nowhere. If we look back at the daily chart here, you can see now we're starting to expand that volume. So we're starting to move higher here. So we'll see if we get anything on Ondas. I've got my eye on it. Again, if I knew what was going on here, I'd bring it to you. If I find out, I'll bring it to you. But as of right now, I'm not sure what's going on here. You guys are speculating maybe it was a whale. James, maybe. I don't know for sure. And here's the thing. If I don't know for sure, I'm not going to guess and act like I know. I'm just going to enjoy the ride. So glad we were already in this here. This does actually make the chart look pretty good. Excuse me. If we can hold above the 20-day moving average, maybe we can make a run back towards 250. As mentioned before, I have an open order to sell some shares up at 3. That hasn't changed. So just if we get up there, it will be a really, really good day. All right. All of the drone stocks have been failing recently. Exactly, Joe. That was it. The drone theme has really it was kind of a momentum theme. So you would expect maybe a little regression back to the mean. I'm not going to blow that out of proportion and make too much of that. We kind of were seeing that, but that's again kind of why this felt like something was happening, because while this was happening, other stocks weren't responding, right? It was just Ondas. So to me, it felt like something was going on there. Laura in Florida says maybe it was Pelosi. Let me tell you something. If it was Pelosi, giddy up because she doesn't lose, and I'm going to be in good shape as long as I can remain patient and sane. So I'll take that if that's the case. But I got no indication. I've got no indication. Producer wants to know, did you mean Pelosi? Yeah, I guess maybe I did. So saw that happen yesterday. We'll see what happens here today. Now, yeah, so still, that's disappointing. I'm sorry that we're having some trouble here with the guests. What I will do if something came up here, and I'll make sure our team is working on that, I will reschedule this because there are a bunch of questions that I want to ask, and I'm ready to go with those. Okay. What else do you folks want to take a look at before we get 13 to jump on here? I think, you know what? Let's do one here, kind of improv. Let's do APLD. This is a stock that a number of you folks have been trading here. We've seen this stock show up on the relative volume scanner quite a bit. And this chart, actually a pretty interesting chart here. We were basically sitting right at the 50-day. The 50 was kind of converging with the 20-day. We were pretty much right on the volume point of control. This goes all the way back to the spring of this year. I guess if we back that out, boy, we're still pretty much right at that volume point of control. That changed by 13 cents. So definitely looks like we're at a pretty important spot here. But they reported earnings. Applied Digital shares are trading higher after the company reported better than expected Q4 adjusted EPS results. Additionally, Needham and Wainwright raised their respective price targets on the stock. So we're up here at about $12.50. We did break above this recent high here. We're still shy of the 1530, 1540 high there. Pretty much right in here, but APLD up 24.5% on the back of that earnings. If we take a look inside, you can see exactly how this went down. Impulse move, another leg higher there in the after hours. We actually closed the after hours at the high, and then as soon as the pre-market opened here again, we went higher. We pulled back. The buyers bought us back. This is really, really strong action. So APLD definitely bullish here today. For any of you that trade this regularly, let me know if you have any outlook on spots, maybe possible reversal points, insight on the earnings report itself. Just kind of taking a look at that, the 3-cent loss beat the 15-cent loss estimate, and sales actually missed the estimate. He gave a business update here, which is likely why this was driving it higher here. Applied Digital targets $7 billion in contracted revenue with long-term AI data center leases as companies accelerate the build-out timeline. You know, we just looked at all of those other companies that have their hand in AI, and they are all crushing it. So it certainly seems to me like a lot of these AI stocks that have legitimate businesses and legitimate technology and legitimate things, they are being repriced higher. It's not just specific to one, it's the entire group. If you do something in AI and it is sought after, your stock is going higher here. It doesn't matter what the market cap is on that or anything like that. Okay. Charles says, Ryan, good morning. Going to have the greatest day. I held on to everything yesterday and wouldn't let Jay Powell shake me. Charles, dude, you're going to get a register ring and you're going to get a 1-up. That was extremely well done. I absolutely love to see our community winning here. That makes it totally worth it. Really, really, really love that. Okay. Thank you, Yassine. Please hit that like button. It's free. It's easy to support us. Good morning, Tom. Good morning, Chris Lafrancois. I love that name so much, man. Good morning, Abhi. Good morning, Tom, Bill, Kathy, anyone that I might have missed. Let's have some fun today. Okay, 13's here. You know what that means. We're going to talk about some movers. Let's see how 13. Good morning, bro. How are you doing?
Hello, Ryan. Good morning, everybody. How is everyone this morning?
We're doing good. We're doing really good here. Super busy day. Joe, I mean, it's the first football game is back tonight. The first football
Finally.
game. I know it doesn't count, but it doesn't matter. There's going to be football. Also, the MLB trade deadline. My team needs to do something, so I'm fairly excited about that. We'll see how it all shakes out. And we have a ton of earnings after hours today, including Amazon, Apple, MicroStrategy, and others. So it is going to be a big afternoon as well. All right. Let's start. Oh, you know what? Let me just get this out of the way here. Abby's asking about open. Here you go. Here's your open chart. Abby, this is pretty simple. Do I have any comments? Yeah, my comments are this is probably over. We are on the back side of the squeeze move that we had here. Maybe this kicks up again. I don't really see anything going on. If you take a look at this intraday 5-minute chart, just by simply observing the volume candles, you can see exactly where everything changed. We had an expanding volume up until Monday, July 21st. And then the day after, that volume started to contract and it flipped from buying to selling volume where it has remained. It has continued to contract. It has continued to be more sellers than buyers. Open continues to move back down. Will this start up again? Look, I can't predict the future. I bought an 8-ball to try and do that, and even that doesn't do a very good job. So I can't tell you if that's going to be the case. But right now, we're on the backside of the move. This thing is not one of the plays to look for the upside unless we start taking out some of those key levels.
They do have earnings in 5 days, so there could be
there you go
as a potential catalyst to get this moving again. But to Ryan's point, this has already had a very large move. Float is very heavy, so there'd have to be some really good earnings, or there'd have to be something in that conference call that really gets us going again. Perhaps we even see some kind of run up into the earnings. It is still holding up around the 500-day SMA. So if it continues to go sideways, there could be some trade forming here going into those earnings. But to Ryan's point, still be very careful with this. It does look like this is trying to go lower.
Okay. All right. Now let's go back and hit them movers. We're going to go to the movers workspace that I have here in Benzinga Pro. We're going to start here with Verify Me, ticker VRME. This is one that we have traded before. This was in penny territory early and has graduated to dollar territory here this morning. Verify Me shares are trading higher after the company announced it entered into a 3-year UPS digital channel program agreement with the United Parcel Service. So getting a deal here with UPS that caused the stock to pop in the after hours. Sold a little bit today. I actually like this action. Sold a little bit today in the pre-market. Buyers said, nope, we're not ready to go down yet. Took it right back to where we were consolidating in the after hours yesterday as we closed. This actually is above the VWAP. I've got VWAP at 121, current price at 122. We take a look at the short interest on this name. Nothing, 0.71%. That is 0.71% with 1.8 days to cover. This to me, not a squeeze candidate, even a little bit. Average volume traded 319,000 shares. Today we've traded 56.7 million. Float on this is just over 11 million. 13, what do you think on this one? You think we're going to get a trade here on VRME?
I'm thinking that we could, but there's some things that need to happen first in order for me to feel comfortable about it. Right now, it does look like it's trying to make its way toward its 65 EMA, and we did kind of double top here in the pre-market, but it did provide an interesting trend line at the same time. One that I drew from the high from the after hours yesterday to the 144 high this morning. So that could either represent a breakout level or a ceiling in this stock. And right now, I mean, it's trading beneath my VWAP, but it's still above the 65 EMA. For me, I'm looking at about 110 as a big area of support. And if we lose that, then we're probably headed back underneath $1. Maybe even down to, at the very least, down to $1 where the 200 EMA is. But I need to see those moving averages hold up. And if we do and they recapture VWAP, then I'm looking towards that trend line, that uptrend line. There is resistance up at 215. If we break that trend line and go further, price action over the past, actually just this year alone, has shown that this can go up to 5, as we did this earlier this year. We went up to 5 in January. So those two levels of resistance I'd be looking for if we turn around, recapture VWAP. Looks like we're trying to do that right now. And if we can, and we can move up and towards that trend line, the breakout of that trend line would make me be keeping an eye on 215 as the next resistance area.
Okay. Okay. And actually, Sarah, I was taking care of some work there. So I think you're talking about this trend line.
Yep. That's it.
Perfect. Easy to see. Okay. Moving on here. Next is going to be SNGX. This is Sologenics. This one also rings a bell. I'm almost certain we've traded this one here before. Sologenic shares are trading higher after the company announced positive phase 2A proof of concept results for SGX 945, which treats some disease that has a character I can't even pronounce, let alone pronouncing the word, which demonstrates biological efficacy. Stock popped above $2, up to about 211, pulled back. Buyers took it back above the VWAP. That's where we currently find ourselves, above the VWAP, below the pre-market high. So this could still take off here today. Quick look around the horn on this one. 8.9% of the float shorted, and that comes with 1 day to cover. That comes on an average volume of just under 1 million shares at 905,000. Today we've traded 45.25 million shares. Stock has a float of 3.25 million. 13, what do you think here? And good morning, Jay Rice.
I didn't see this one on the scanner when I was looking at the other one. So this is getting some more movement. So it's probably because it was much lower when I was looking at it. It's since returned to some of the highs it had earlier this morning, around $2. So I didn't look at this one, but 2A, so that implies that there's a 2B, maybe some other clinical trials going alongside this one right now. So immediately going to want to look at their cash position since they're still ongoing with those clinical trials. They have, according to their last report, about just under $7.3 million in cash. They burn through about half that every quarter. So at some point soon, they're going to have to do a capital raise. Looking real quick here at the SEC filings, I am not seeing a Form S. Could be in another form, maybe in one of these 14s. But anyway, I'd have to do a little looking around to see if there's any filings on the table. They will need cash at some point. It doesn't look like they need it at the moment. Float is 3.2 million, so it should be not that hard to move around. We are trading above VWAP right now. The next area I want to see get tested is that 210 area where we were this morning. Popped up to 213 as the high print, but after a few candles up there, no luck in capturing 210. So that's the next step I want to see if we do get back up in that area, is that a breach of 210.
Yeah, I agree with you. Okay, really quickly here, I want to just cover up a couple of comments. Then I'm going to skip ahead in the movers list to another stock that's here. Gunny Johnson, are you ready for some football? Yes, I am. Sassy Butterfly Chick says, me. Give me the football. That's exactly what I want to hear. Let me ask you, folks, what teams do y'all root for? I know I talk a lot about Bears and Packers, but I just want to see. Look, it is a celebration of one of our favorite sports returning today. No wrong answers at all. Also, this is what on a more serious note, this is what I wanted to move to here. Yassine, really great comment. Roblox had very nice gain after earnings. I have to listen to Tim more. So let me do this. I wasn't planning on necessarily covering the Roblox earnings, but because we just had a webinar where Tim gave away 6 picks. He gave away 3 value picks and 3 momentum picks. And one of those was Roblox here. His proprietary indicator saying that this thing was going to be good. And lo and behold, 20% higher today on the backs of those earnings. And then furthermore, Empyrean. Yeah, Yassine, I think I got in that because of Tim. Thanks, Tim. You know what? I'm actually going to screen cap this and send it to him because Tim is the type of guy very much like me in 13. Tim likes to see others win, and he'll love to see this comment. We'll make his day before lunchtime here. That sounds good to me. So, okay, Roblox. This is trading up by 19%. Roblox shares trading higher after the company reported better than expected Q2 sales results, issued Q3 sales guidance above estimates, and raised its full year 25 sales guidance. The trifecta, which is what we call that here. $150. Get in there, 13.
Did he happen to say that post earnings that this is going to continue, or that there'd be a little bit of an elevated risk of topping out here? Because I'm looking at a daily chart of Roblox, and back in November of 2021, that was the all-time high. So we haven't been up here since almost 4 years ago, and now we're trading above that high. So I'm wondering, is this where we want to take our profits and say thank you very much, Tim, or is there more to be had here? Because it's looking like this back in November, the way it came down is very much like the way it came. It's going up here today. So I'm just wondering if this is going to be where we get out and wait for the next pullback, or if there's more room to run with this into the further into the 140s.
Okay, that is a really good question, but here's how I'm going to answer that. Tim Melvin, the system here is we're in football mode. We're going to quote Mike Tomlin here, but instead of the standard being the standard, the system is the system 13. So it will tell him when to exit. He was not specific on that. And furthermore, if you want to know, there's a link to the Trade Alerts Accelerator program where this was recommended. So 13, that's just a clever way of saying he did not specify. But if that is something that you're interested in following him, this is actually why we developed this service, so that you'd be able to have access to this. Remember, another part of the service is that Anne-Marie is going to help you juice some of those trades, in particularly the value plays, by using options to start making income immediately. So be sure to check that out. I think he's probably going to let this run, right? 13, Tim is a big proponent of letting his winners run. We're looking at the chart right here. We just popped to new all-time highs. I would imagine maybe there's a little bit of profit taking in accordance with his risk parameters, but otherwise, I think you're going to let this trade run until it runs out of steam.
Okay.
So, but good question there. I didn't want to just say, well, I don't know. I wanted to throw something else in there. So really good question.
You see what I was talking about, right? Because you looked at the November 2021.
I actually don't have the 2021
gotcha.
candles on here, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
Gotcha.
Okay, really quickly here, I was asking, oh, dude, this is gonna be such a great year. We've got fans of everybody here: Rams, Bills, Jets, Bears, Steelers, and they're not even saying Steelers; they're just saying the black and yellow. Chiefs, Raiders, the Raiders. Oh, awesome. Every Browns fans. Oh, we got fans of every team in here. Delusions run high in New York and Dallas annually before the start of the NFL season. Oh, it's going to be so good. Okay, I'm glad I had my fun here for this morning. Let me try and get back to some seriousness here, 13, because I know that you're very unimpressed with me being goofy. So next here on the list is going to be PBM. This is Sciessence Biomedical. Sciessence Biomedical shares are trading higher after the company announced it, along with Pay Labs, achieved a breakthrough in GMP-aligned high-purity ibogaine production. Now, I don't have a position in this. I'm not necessarily busting down the door to trade this, but this is something also that I'm kind of watching on the back burner. I suspect with the new administration, with the re-examining and throwing out old norms here, I do expect some things like ibogaine and ayahuasca to get looked into a little bit more for medical benefits and so on and so forth. So I think that there's going to be more stocks just like this that end up making moves like this. So even if I don't trade this one here today, how this stock performs and then what this company does going forward is going to be of interest here to me. When we got this PR here, we doubled. We moved from about 540 to 1020. Okay, so we did not quite get 100%, but we teased that. We've since pulled off this a little bit. We're still holding higher here by about 41%. Yes, the volume has kind of died down. Yes, we're beneath the VWAP, but all of that can change here. It actually looks like we found some support during one of the areas that we traded sideways yesterday. A quick look on around the horn here, 1.83% of the float shorted, 1 day to cover. That comes on an average volume of 121,000. Today already we've traded 11.7 million. This stock, though, micro float, under 1 million shares, 704,000 shares in the float. You know what that means. There could be some fireworks here today. So 13, what do you think here, ticker PBM?
Well, this you guys are pointing out has a really low float, 704,000 shares. Company might need cash, but they did do. It has enough cash right now, but it did do an offering last month, a private placement. So I'm not certain that they're going to need to do any capital raises today. It doesn't seem like they will. So with that in mind, I was looking for areas of support and resistance. We've come down to an area. Even below an area where I thought we would be getting support. I was looking at around 775, 780. We're a little bit beneath that right now, but still trying to recover. The resistance I was looking at was at 12, based on some previous price action history. And if we continue to turn up here like we're starting to do, we're beginning to curl a little bit and recapture this 200 EMA, keep an eye on that VWAP because that's going to be the next target of resistance. So if we can just turn up and get that, that'd be great. Now, to your point about how we might be seeing some other companies, and this is a little bit as an aside to PBM, we do have MindMed, ticker MNMD, that is reporting, I think today or tomorrow. Tomorrow. Oh, no,
After the market closed today. You're absolutely right.
So, and this is already up 5%. So this could be another one to keep an eye on in the same theme with PBM. See how what the kind of lift they get from their earnings. Just to point that out there, since it's in the same wheelhouse.
Yeah, no, and you're absolutely right about that. It is a late-stage clinical biopharma company developing novel product candidates to treat brain health disorders. It's developing a pipeline of product candidates targeting neurotransmitter pathways that play key roles in brain health disorders. This includes explicitly pharmaceutically, good Lord, come on, optimized product candidates derived from the psychedelic and empathogen drug classes. Now, it's not specifying things there, but this, you're absolutely right, because if Ibogaine or ayahuasca or any other treatment starts to show undeniable benefits, I would imagine that some of these other companies, even if they're already in it, might kind of shift what they're doing and go along those lines. So this is you're bringing up a really good point here. It looks like Zane is asking about CLDI, which off the top of my head, I don't know. I don't remember which one this is. You're asking about a penny stock here. Immuno-oncology company with technology designed to arm the immune system to fight cancer. So this is not going to be in the similar vein that we just talked about. And I give you props for your attempt to slip in a junky penny stock here, but I am not going to oblige you, and we're going to keep moving on to something that's not a penny stock. It's nothing personal. Penny stocks suck. Next here on the list is going to be ONCO. This is Onco or Onconetics. Onconetics. Beg your pardon. This ramped here, right? So this was about 321 yesterday. This ramped to above 6. We've since come in quite a bit, but we're still holding higher here by 28%. VWAP here at 484, current price at 411. If we look at the news here, it looks like we did have some news after hours, a Form 13D there, which Altos Venture AG took a 10% or more stake in this. That's what's driving this higher. Quick look around the horn on this one. 19.53% of the float shorted as of the most recent reading. The key takeaway there is that this actually ticked up just about 2% from the prior read. And that read from the prior read was a double. So short interest has clearly been building in this name. Now you have a big 13G. Does that set the stage for fireworks? We'll see. 1 day to cover on this. Average volume of 377,000. Today we've traded just shy of 19 million. This also one of the micro floaters there, 510,000 shares in the float. So 13, ticker ONCO. What you think?
I think we did trade this one back in May. I believe this was on a delisting notice. Or it was on a failure to file a 10K report. This one was facing delisting back in May. That's clear. That's what the news was that was causing it to run back then. Not sure why. I think there may have been some compliance, but and they also did they also approved a stock split reversal. That was in June, and they ended up doing a 1 for 85. Still ended up going lower. Coming back up to 410. As a matter of fact, in the pre-market, we went right up to one of the levels that we were looking at when we were trading it back in May, and that was 585. We ended up going a little bit above it, up to 617 before we came back in underneath VWAP. Been getting support from the 65 EMA this morning. Did touch the 200 once, but we've been back up above the 65 cents. Really need to see this recapture or get back up towards that VWAP. It does look like it's still trying to curl, so we might get some better movement out of the open here. But that's the only thing I'd be looking for with this one is just to get back up to that VWAP. If we start going beneath the 200-day SMA, it's probably going to be done for the time being, maybe even the entire day.
Okay. All right. Good stuff there. ONCO. All right. Yeah, sweet one. That's right. Penny stocks do suck. And yeah, we are going to look at micro caps that have 1.6 million market cap because that might be a mover there. Penny stocks seem to trade differently. I've been very clear about that for a while. I don't, if there actually is something serious there with CLDI, we can examine it when it comes, but don't see where that's at the moment. Last one here on the list. We did talk, it was actually changing there. It was a recent one. This is Pineapple Financial. Remember this? PAPL?
Yeah.
This thing is basically on the backside of that move after the initial hoopla from last week. We've done nothing but really kind of trade down here. Now we're getting a little pop here today, but it didn't really hold a whole lot. I don't think there was no fresh news on this one, so it looks just like some trading action here, 28% here this morning. Again, a reminder here on some of the short interest, 1.21% of the float shorted. 1 day to cover on this. This comes on an average volume of 5.3 million shares. Today, we've traded 6 million shares in the pre-market alone. Float on this one, again, under a million shares here, 877,000. What are you thinking here, 13?
I'm a little confused about this one. It's got 877,000 shares in the float, according to Pro here. But when I look at all the buying insiders have done, it really has me scratching my head, because we're getting to the point where there's a lot more shares being bought by these insiders than there are available in the float. They did have an offering in May for 10 million shares. So I'm also wondering why that isn't reflected. It seems like when that offering came out, a lot of these insiders started buying that up, and that was at 15 cents a share. So I'm like I said, I'm a little confused about the share structure on this one. It seems like it's a micro float, like a very low float, but at the same time, with that offering that they had earlier, it should be in the millions. So I'm a little confused about what we're getting here in terms of that. Other than that, it's running on no news, and I have no idea why it was getting any interest today. We did pop above VWAP going all the way up to 503 in the pre-market. We've since come down and have found support at some of the consolidation from not last week, earlier this week,
Monday.
back on Monday. Yeah. So as long as that holds, then there might be a chance that this could turn around. We also have the 65 and 200 EMAs that can also provide support down around 355 to 360. But if those fail as well, then it's probably going to be done for the day, and just continue to drip lower. So that VWAP, that's been an area of resistance. We need to go back up and move past that. Seems like 455, 460 might be the big area to get over there.
Okay. Good stuff there, PAPL. Now, did you have anything else on your list? Did you have SNDL here?
Nope. I just had those four.
Okay, and then INDV. So we'll go over these quickly because these are ramping here. I'll start just with INDV because I happen to be on it. That's India, November, Delta, Victor. This is Indivior. Indivior shares are trading higher after the company reported better than expected Q2 financial results and raised its full year 25 sales guidance above the estimate. The stock was about $17 yesterday. Looks like we popped to 22 earlier this morning. We've come back in a little bit, but we're still holding above the VWAP. That's pretty good. I want to take a look at the volume numbers here. Yeah, this is going to be a good shape. Float of 123 million, so much thicker than some of the junkier Garbaggio names, as we've already covered here. But average volume here, 1.82 million shares per day. Today, we've already traded 13.5 million after the earnings print. We're holding higher here by 18%. Quick look at the short interest on this one. 7% of the float shorted, 7.01% of the float shorted there with 6 days to cover. So we'd like to see a little bit higher percent of float shorted, but days to cover here still pretty high. I know we're trading on higher volume here today, so maybe it won't matter. I still will throw this out there. This might be a bit of a squeezer here today. We'll see how it sets up. Right now, moving to the highs, so maybe wait for this to pull back a little bit. As far as what this company does, special what?
So it could be similar to PBM in that same wheelhouse, but maybe not to the natural extracts, but very similar in the mental disorders.
Yeah, the company is focused on the development, manufacture, and sale of prescription drugs for treatment of substance use disorders and other serious mental illnesses. But this is a really good point, 13, because if Ibogaine all of a sudden became something that was legal, frankly, and brought in to serve or to treat some of these disorders here, that might be something that INDV would look at. or add to their product portfolio. So you're right. Even though it's not a direct comparison, this does kind of fit in here. You got any thoughts on the chart or where it might go?
Well, also this is, remember how we also talked about how RFK is a big proponent for treating alcohol disorder or alcoholism.
Yep.
That's what this company also does. So I still think that could be a theme. Now, this one and the other one that we're going to look at, they're both moving on earnings, and this one had some really, really big earnings, and I think they had some really good guidance as well. But aside from that, it seems like we're getting into these mental disorder, psychological disorder treatments, and it's really starting to emerge as a bit of a theme that we've kind of been touching on earlier this year, and now we could be starting to see more of. You know what I'm saying?
Say that one more time. Sorry.
Well, because we remember how we were talking about mental disorder treatments and the dependency disorder treatments earlier in the year. We could see that as more of an emerging theme because we've been talking about it previously. Now we're starting to see some of these companies emerge as in relation to that theme. So we have INDV, we have PBM. We've already talked about MindMed multiple times, but it seems like this is starting to gain traction, is all I'm saying. So might want to take a look at some of these other companies in the same spot,
apologize. I didn't follow you at first there, but it makes complete sense, and it's a rather obvious question. So appreciate that. Yeah. I think one of the things though, 13, I think that there was probably a focus on getting some of the big trade issues out of the way. And it seems like we're near the end of that. Yeah. So to your point here about gaining traction, maybe now it's going to be some of these other things that are going to start to get worked on the side, and maybe this is one of them. This has been a big thing for RFK, and that was a big part of Trump letting him into the administration there. So you make a really good point here. This is definitely something we should at minimum keep on the back burner, see if this proliferates, because this is going to create more than a handful of opportunities for us if this does keep going here. EKS says treatment, just stop drinking there, disorder resolved. Some people can do that, but a lot of people can't, and they do need additional treatment and help in order to get off the bottle. Yep, totally. I completely agree with that. I've got friends that have kind of gone through stuff like that. I actually have one friend that said he did ayahuasca and it changed his life. His words, not mine. So totally get it. But yeah, I did that same thing. I wouldn't say that I had a disorder, but I was like, boy, I really want to take more of an arc to health here. One of the first things that I did was cut down drinking. Okay. What else do you want to do? You want to go? We're running out of time here. Let me go to the big chart. Yassine had asked about ARM and Qualcomm, which both reported earnings last night. I didn't have that on the earnings breakdown here, but we can go ahead and take a look at it. Here's your ARM chart. This one a little bit concerning, to be quite honest with you. First of all, with the trade here, we traded right up to a resistance area here, about 167. Could not get over that, and now we have the earnings here that are sinking the stock by over 8.5% here today, down to 150 on this chart here. Now that 150 takes us through the 20, and maybe we get some support here at about 146. That's where your 50-day moving average is. Let's see where this can actually find some footing. 13, what do you think here on ARM? Let's see here. It's kind of been surprised that they aren't doing better, because this is the type of the structure of chips that that AI is using. That's what NVIDIA uses. It's what a lot of companies use. It's what we're all moving towards, and we've already been there. And the x86 being the older version, or the less preferred now. So it's kind of interesting to see that this was going lower, or not trading as well, because this is the type of architecture that AI is using. Now I did see that they were interested in maybe producing their own chips, so that could be interesting, and that could also put more pressure on NVIDIA. But they're still still seems like they're in favor. They're still getting buy ratings, price targets that are being raised. It seems like this could be a buying opportunity. Let me see here. We're at 152, so that pulls us down to under the 20. Mm-hmm.
It's an interesting support area. I wouldn't be surprised if we ended up going a little bit lower before we found some footing, but this might represent a buying opportunity because it seems like this company is still going to ultimately end up doing well. I don't have a whole lot more beyond that. I just feel like this company, being that this is the preferred architecture for AI, that this would be doing better. And I just didn't go through the reports, so I'm not exactly sure why it's not. I see that the EPS guidance was below midpoint estimates. But over the long run, if you're going to be getting this and holding it for a longer, like years, might just be a little bit of a buying opportunity. That's what my thought is.
I mean, Evercore went to 173 here on the price target. So you're not alone on that. Ryan here saying valuation of ARM is still crazy. No, forward PE of 89, trailing 12 months PE of 247.46. So I would say yes, it is.
Yeah, that's another thing we were talking about yesterday, was that it is pretty overvalued. So yes, that's kind of what I'm leaning on. Let's just let this come in some more. We get a better opportunity to get it cheaper for the long run. But yeah, looking at those figures, it is pretty overvalued.
Okay, next here was Qualcomm. I understand we're running out of time here. We'll do my best to get through it here. And of course, I did it in the wrong order here. Here's your Qualcomm chart. Qualcomm, very similar deal here. We had a area on the chart, which was a heavy resistance area. We went right up to the trend line. Bang, we got slapped. Down here, 152.70. The stock's down 4% here. 152 actually takes us beneath the 50. It looks like the 100 might catch us at 151. But Qualcomm here, backside of that move. Okay, that's the bell. We're open, flipping over to the main workspace. Let's see what we get here today.
All right, so PBM out of the gate here. We are not doing a whole lot. VRME, that's going lower, about to test at 65 EMA. PAPL, the one that has no news, has a seller right in the way of its upside. It might be getting walked down here to the 65 and 200 EMAs. We were looking at SNGX. That's getting a lift here. Still not higher than the pre-market highs, but it's getting a little bit. Now it's getting pulled. ONCO, that's trying to get going here on lower volume, though. So that's rising, but not very quickly. I was getting asked about a number of things.
PBM trying to pop here a little bit. What do you want me to put up? I'm going to step away here for a sec so you can cover any of that.
Oh, I was just getting asked about LiDAR, and it's just, one of the ones we were trading earlier this month, and this is just leaking out of the gate here, going beneath the 200 EMA. It might find some support around 370 here, but if it doesn't, then the next area below that it could find support is going to be 350.
Okay. All right, Verify Me. This now starting to curl back up. We'll see if that can get through 130. I'm going to leave Verify Me on at 13. I'll be right back. 1 sec.
Sounds good. So Verify Me trying to work its way through this resistance area at about 130. You can see that the impulse move in the after hours yesterday took us up to about there, just a penny shy of it. We've since come in, and the move that we got this morning took us back up to that level where we were finding resistance. We did have a couple of candles move above that, but have since come down underneath it again. Here we are going back towards the 65 EMA. So that's going to be a clear resistance area if we are going to get more upside today in VRME is 130. And finger motion going downtown says thinking about it. Big bear hug. You're asking about Microsoft. Fantastic earnings they had, all driven by the AI and cloud revenue. Now, we could see something similar to what we got with Google, where how it gapped up and then it just started selling off and closing that gap throughout the day. It wouldn't surprise me if we got something similar to Microsoft, just because this is just the way that the nature of the market right now. We sell these pops. Meta's not necessarily doing that quite yet. So this one actually going higher after its earnings. It had a similar gap up. So we have a gap here in Meta, gap in Microsoft. Looks like Microsoft's trying to come and fill theirs. I don't know that it's going to completely do that. If there's going to be some support to kick in, it could be around 530. So we'll see if that holds up. But Microsoft coming in after their earnings, very extended here, by the way. Same thing with Meta. That's coming in. I'm sorry, that's not coming in yet. But oops, there goes my chart. But it did create a gap nonetheless.
Yeah, and by the way, the chart issue that we're experiencing here, this is definitely being worked on. Hopefully we get this resolved here pretty soon. Also looking like the market is pulling a little bit here from the open. We talked about the sell the news event, really kind of feeling like that's going on here. Looks like a little bit more of the same here today.
PAPL, that is getting a lift here going through VWAP. Coming up to some resistance areas around 430. Looks like there's a seller in the way at 407 right now. VMRE got some support from the 200. Oh, it looks like the charts are back.
Yep.
VMRE got some support from the 65 EMA, still trying to work on recapturing VWAP. PBM, here we go. This is getting a lift here, running into a seller at 790 before backing off. Open, here we go. Just like Ryan was saying, this might be over for now. I just noticed that this was really falling out of the gate here, going down to test $2 as support. When we traded yesterday, V-Wave, that ran into the open. That's selling off now. This might halt to the downside.
You know, I noticed that one of the other ones that we traded yesterday, I think it was Repel, REPL. That was actually the top loser on the movers tool this morning when I logged in. So backside of the move on some of those. Here's SNGX. Yeah, Jay Michael, I know you were asking about the charts. Let me know if they're working for you. The team's actively working on it, but it seems to be working for me at the moment. 13, how about you? Everything good on your end? Did they come back? Yeah. Okay, sweet. So should be good there. Jay Michael, let me know. Yes, the team is on it. Also, Carvana here. I know this was another one. Carvana reported earnings here. This ripping higher on the back of that earnings, and actually a little bit of a gap and go action here out of the open on Carvana. Ticker CVNA on that.
Is this all-time highs?
No, I don't think so, because didn't this...
looks like it is.
Oh, you might be right.
Looks like it is.
That's 13. Boy, I shouldn't have even disagreed with you there. Yeah, no, this is, yep, indeed. This is all-time highs, a break above that blue sky breakout here now on Carvana. Yassine, did you end up playing this to the long side yesterday? Giddy up if you did. You should be in good shape here today.
You should disagree with me, because if you don't, then I'll think I'm right, and that's dangerous.
Okay. Noted. Noted. Okay. Let's see what else we got here.
Okay, so PAPL gave that back, went right back to the low of the regular session. VMRE lost 65 EMA. PBM, this is so far the one that's been doing the best. Two green candles out of the open here, now above VWAP. Looking to move into this consolidation area from the pre-market, getting resistance from that area right now. This one looks pretty good so far. If it can continue to chew through this consolidation we got in the pre-market up here, we'd be looking double digits. PE ratio 117 on Carvana. Yeah, that thing is just a massive squeeze.
Yeah. You know what though? What is the short interest on that? Because that came in significantly.
Mm-hmm.
What's that at here? So okay. So but you know what? 13. So it did come in significantly, but it actually rose again and has been ticking up the past 6, 7 prints. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The last 7 prints we've incrementally ticked up here a little bit in the short interest on Carvana. So to that point, although it's come back in, still think it's fairly significant here at just about 11% and 5.35 days to cover.
All right, getting a little pull in PBM now. VRME might be turning around.
Here we go. PBM. This might actually be going for its VWAP there on PBM.
Yeah, it was up around 870 and it backed off. But there could be another candle just like this before it starts to get some more selling pressure. Really just having a time trying to chew through the consolidation from earlier this morning, from about 870 to 1015.
Parker's Thinkorswim indicators talking about Pan W. Let's see what happened here. Oof. Pan W, big pull out of the gate. So where do we do for yesterday's intraday lows? Did we pull right down to that? Let's see. Let me turn the volume off here. No. Okay, so interesting. First of all, great stuff for you folks yesterday that were short-term trading PanW here. Now, a big pullback. We actually took out yesterday's pre-market lows. Parker here saying, buying the dip again. Hopefully it doesn't keep dipping. LOL. Yeah, indeed.
SNGX pulling back, says Terra. Jay Rice is saying nice about Pi. Pi is nice.
Yeah, here is SNGX on that pullback.
Looks like we're still trying to get a recapture of that 65 EMA with VRME. Need some more volume, though.
Jay, for Pi here, for Impinge, do you think we get a 250 snap to the upside here? Oh, 250, 150, excuse me. Beg your pardon.
All right, we're getting a little bit of action here in PBM. We might make another move into this consolidation further. It is really whipping around here. Lots of volume in PBM. There's a fight happening in PBM.
Fight night. Yeah, Jay Michael, so I was just going to say, so I was getting charts, but I wasn't getting updates on them. Now it looks like I'm not even getting charts. So let me go ahead and check in on that. Let me see if I can get you an update. I know the team is literally talking about it right now.
It might be intermittent for different people. My charts are working right now. I'm looking at Meta, and that seems to be working. Here we go. More upside here at PBM. Let's see if it can get through that 870 area into that consolidation that I was just mentioning earlier. A little bit of a seller there at 870. They're getting taken out.
GB Slice asking about Fig. No, I don't think so. No, Fig is not open. Let me know, guys, if you see any indications on your price ladder about where that might open. I don't see that. I don't see any indication here in the tree. Fig guy can confirm that is definitely not open. I'll let you know if any of this changes, but right now, no bueno.
Yeah, and it might not be until after lunch when it opens. I think that typically IPOs open later on.
Yeah, it's right around the lunch hour, 13. That's spot on. So anywhere between like 11 and 1 traditionally is where we're going to see those.
Yeah.
Zane saying 33 is where it landed. So it was priced between 32 and 33. What I want to see is where it opens here today. What does it get bid up to prior to the open? What's up?
PBM. Give it to us. We took out that 870. We're chewing through this consolidation. We're looking for 1015, 1017. The high that we were making earlier today. This candle that we're in right now might be the last green candle before we start seeing some a little bit of pullback. But I'm not saying that this is done yet, but I'm just saying that after three green candles in a row that look like this, we typically get some selling to occur as this candle ends or the next one begins.
Okay, PBM here, 905 now as it's pulled off that. J. Michael, looks like what's going on here is they're having an issue with the data feed that should be providing updates here. So charts are back. They restarted the service, but still looking to have those updates. That should be coming here in the next couple of minutes. Inod, this is another former AI name. I know. And you know what? Part of me wonders if this is popping on the back of what we saw from Meta, which is one of their customers here. Yeah. Inod reports earnings after the close today. So whatever you trade here today, figure that into your plan. This is going to report earnings, is going to have a move after that, without a doubt. Nice job, Anthony, on PBM. Ring that register. That's what we'll do here. Good stuff.
Yep. Here we go. We're getting more and more out of PBM. This is looking pretty good. We're coming up to that to a resistance area around 950. That's where a lot of this price action this morning was having a hard time recapturing. The highs are still around 1015, 1017. Still looking for some of those prints, but right now we are running into some of the resistance just prior to that 1017 high. We have a little more than 2 minutes left in this candle still. PPL, that's still not getting going here. Still kind of hanging out at the lows of the regular session after the impulse move. BMRE, that's continuing to leak lower as well.
Really quickly here, Roblox. Roblox actually 147 here. So this above the VWAP. Roblox might be going for that 151 top end of the pre-market range there.
SNGX, it's sold off out of the gate here. It looks like it's trying to find some footing. So if it can recapture this 9 EMA, which appears to be suppressing it at the moment, we may see this come back up into the 190s, maybe even $2, which would be the high of the session.
Okay. Good stuff there. Izzy mentioning here that copper is pounded. So this is actually something that we talked about here on the webinar last night. Talked about this with Tim Melvin. Copper was pounded. That really affected the Freeport trade here, right? This thing went from 43 down to what, 38 handle. Yesterday's thing down. Copper was down like 17, 20%. Just something wild like that. I think personally, I think somebody got in Trump's ear on this one and was like, we probably shouldn't do the huge tariffs here on copper the way that you had outlined them, and you're seeing the market reprice that. Kathy, AMBQ, let me look at that. I'm unfamiliar with that, so give me a sec here.
And then ONCO, because that's starting to get going here too. We might get a move up to VWAP on this movement.
Ambiq, this was one of the IPOs from yesterday. Is a fabless semiconductor company that has developed technology based on patents sub-threshold power optimization technology, abbreviated as SPOT. Platform. It significantly reduces the amount of power consumed by integrated circuits. It's a pioneer that provides ultra-low power semiconductor solutions designed to address significant power consumption and challenges for general purpose and AI compute, specifically at the edge. Yep. Kathy, I got to think that this is going to be, theme me up, Scotty. This is definitely in the theme that we're currently seeing right now. I would imagine that as long as AI remains at the forefront and it keeps putting up these good numbers, you're going to have good potential moves here in ticker AMBQ. Did you trade this, Kathy? Are you in this?
SNGX, ONCO, these are all starting to move. Sorry to interrupt you, but
you're fine.
These are fine. Getting going here.
Here you go. Here's your SNGX. It actually looks like that tested the pre-market high.
That just happened. Congrats if you caught that. Also, ONCO trying to push through this 430 area. It looks like it's been getting some resistance there in the regular session after getting support from the 200 EMA. Looking for a move over 440. I'm sorry, 450, 445, 450 on its way up to VWAP. We also have a PBM. There we go. Just what I was looking for. PBM came right back in. We're halted to the downside here in just a moment. There it is. 3 green candles. Here comes the red one. This is what I was talking about.
And for those of you that are following the trade deadline here today, Shane Bieber traded to the Blue Jays. I was hoping the Cubs were going to pick him up. Damn. All right. PBM. So this is into the halt, huh?
Yeah, this is more or less exactly what I was talking about. Yeah. We had 3 green candles. Just be careful with that last one. Sure enough, it started reversing, and then the red one followed right afterwards. And now we're halted to the downside. So I know that some folks were trading this who were having some really good moves. Hopefully you took your gains before this happened. I'm not saying that this is done, but for now, this is where we would already want to be out. Let's just wait for the next setup here because we might continue to get some better trades. I think it could get some support from around the 775 area. So let's see what we get out of this halt.
Okay. Bieber cousin. Yeah, Izzy, I wanted the Biebs. Let me. I don't know what you mean by Bieber cousin. If you're his cousin, that's awesome. I've got a jersey I'd like autographed, by the way.
SNGX is now breaking out. It's absolutely ripping. New highs.
That's above that pre-market high. Yep. All right, folks. I said that we were going to have multiple guests here today. We did have a scheduling conflict with one of them, but the other one is ready to go. Let's go ahead and bring on Markets and Mayhem. Mayhem. It is going to be a mayhem-like Thursday, I think. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing great. How are you, gentlemen?
We're doing really good. Another day, another dollar, my man.
Good to see you all. Yeah, absolutely. Seeing a bit of a fade of the S&P futures off the open here. Just broke below my 6444.25 pivot and balancing out about 6432.50, which is where I have Key 1 Plus. That's an options derived level to watch there for some potential stability. And below that, 6421.25. But overall, seeing some de-risking from that overnight session, the pop that we saw, getting a bit of a drop here.
So Mayhem, one of the things that we've been talking about recently is that it does kind of feel like we're seeing a sell the news kind of theme here, right? We had the EU trade deal, market kind of sold off after we got that. Same, what was it? The not the India one. What was the other one? So help me out here, guys. There were 3 deals.
South
Then we
Korea?
had the Korea one was today, and we're seeing that here again, or last night. And we're seeing that here again. So it really does seem like the market is just kind of selling off after we get these deals completed. You think that's going to keep up here?
I think that we've priced in a lot of the good news. So if the deals aren't even better news, it does make sense to see some degree of selling down. A lot of what we saw post Liberation Day or hour or whatever it was the idea that, we were going to see 90 deals in 90 days. And there was going to be this momentum to solidifying U.S. trade dominance and bringing back more business to this country. So a lot of that got priced in. Now, when the news is happening, I think it's exactly as you said. It's more of a sell the news environment because what more is there to price in?
Yeah, that's a good point here. I mean, even energy selling off here, right? So XLE, your energy spider here. I guess this is popping here out of the gate. It does seem like these deals are probably good for the energy sector and good for energy plays, but nonetheless, here XLE lower here today. Get in there.
So there's a piece of news that's happening here when it comes to what might be affecting the market. The U.S. the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Federal Circuit is going to be hearing arguments today regarding Trump's tariffs imposed under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, the IEEPA. Now, I don't expect anything to come out of this. As a matter of fact, if anything does come out of it, I expect this to completely go to the Supreme Court. That's where I expect this to go. So this could be, creating a little bit of a rockiness heading into that. But if this does end up going to the Supreme Court, which I expected it will, this is only going to drag this out further, and we can continue to do, or Trump can continue to do his economic policy. So the next Supreme Court, I think they start their next session in October. So that already creates like several months of delay before we even have them look at it. But that's something to keep in mind for the headlines today, is that they are going to be hearing arguments in the U.S. Court of Appeals regarding the tariffs.
Okay.
That should be fun to keep an eye on.
Great times.
Hey, at least we're used to it, right? At least this isn't anything new. I mean, we kind of know how to do this already. Mayhem, one of the things that I was saying earlier, we talked a little bit about the Microsoft earnings beat in the pre-market here today. Wanted to see if we had any update on some of the walls that are jumping, or the call walls that are getting jumped over here. Do you have any early indication on what the gamma charts are saying here on either Microsoft or Meta?
Yeah, we're seeing, let's see, where is Microsoft trading at currently? It's trading at 539. So call wall for Microsoft looking like it's 550 now. So let me go ahead and pop that into the private chat so you can show that. But that's what I'm seeing, just a little bit, I think, of roll higher here on Microsoft.
Okay.
And seeing some interest starting to build
PBM
even 600.
Sorry to interrupt you. PBM open, went down to the area I was looking at. It's trying to get a bounce. Sorry.
You're good.
Real quick here, Mayhem. So we're seeing Microsoft pull out here, or pull back here today. We're seeing a call wall jump here. We're seeing this maybe get traded up to 650 or 550, excuse me. Is this indicative of maybe buy the dip coming here at some point?
For Microsoft?
Yeah.
I think it could be. I mean, I will say I like what I heard from Microsoft more than what I heard from Meta overall. I think Meta has some variations in how they're depreciating their GPUs that are a little generous that help to boost earnings, and that may be something that gets faded later on. But on the other side of it, Microsoft's cloud growth is robust. It's really impressive, and they seem to be back to that mode where Satya, who's the best CEO the company's ever had, in my opinion, is firing on all cylinders. He really has a vision, and he's executing on it, and it's coming to fruition.
Okay. Good stuff on the, was still sharing the gamma chart there. All right. Roblox sitting here at about 145. So that's actually under the pre-market high. Let's see if we had here INOD continuing. Remember that reports earnings here tonight. Looks like that's still running into earnings.
We traded this one yesterday, I believe, BGLC. This is getting a pop over the 65 EMA on the 5-minute. Low volume, but it's getting some movement Also, PBM bouncing off of the 200 EMA, trying to recapture some of these other EMAs on the way back up to fill the gap. I think it actually filled the gap, but it's trying to get back up towards VWAP. So potential bounce here in PBM. Also, some similar movement here with VRME. We got a reversal happening here, also trying to recapture its VWAP. PAPL, that tried again to get into the 4 area, rejected, now beneath the VWAP again. So not much happening here with PAPL. SNGX, big winner right now. 230 is the high.
Okay, here is SNGX. And Jay Michael, if you're still out there, anyone on Pro, do me a favor and refresh your platform. It looks like not only are the charts back, but they are updating in accordance with the WebSocket price that we're getting. So you should be all set there. Hit refresh in your browser. Let me know. I'll keep you posted on what we see here.
All right. SoFi trading 1 million shares a minute. Might be short squeezing soon. It says Fred's G Life. Let's take a look at SoFi.
Ooh. Wow.
What are you seeing?
Yeah, just seeing it popping out of this trend line. If you draw a trend line going back to December of 2024 into the present on SoFi, it looks like it had a head fake, kind of moved back below, retested the 20-day moving average, and now is popping right back above that trend line with some pretty significant volume this morning.
Okay, so I just eyeballed that based on what you were saying here. I still have us below the trend line, but I do have yesterday's candle peaking above that. And right now, it does look like we're trading back up towards that trend line. So we'll see if we end up taking this out.
Yeah, I drew that trend line to a little lower. So I was actually having the top, that second hit in that that high right there.
Yeah, on the July 21st. Yep. I see.
Yeah,
and you're exactly right. We are breaking through that there. Okay, awesome.
I think you're both right.
Is this one of those technical analysis is astrology for gamblers moments? Is that what we're doing?
The moment where 13 is practicing for his entry into politics there. Just satisfying.
Oh, God. No.
I knew you weren't going to like that one. I had to get that one out there.
And
go ahead.
no, just going back to S&P, we did see a nice bounce off that key 1 plus level, that 64.32, offering some support. Now testing that 64.44.25 pivot on the S&P futures, which brings us just below the BGL. That's the 21 EMA on a 5-minute chart. It is a really, really good momentum indicator. If you want something stupidly simple to day trade futures, that BGL is what you want to put on your chart, literally called the big green line.
You said the 21 EMA?
Yeah, 21 EMA on a 5-minute chart.
Gotcha. Here is your 21 EMA. You know what? You said green, so guess what? I'm going to make the color of this line green. That's exactly right.
And thicken it up. Thicken that line up a bit, too.
You know what? You know what? That's a good call. That's a good call. We're going to do that as well.
We've got the big green line. I love it.
All right, and we are right there. We are right there on SPY.
Sweet one. Let's say that that happens and they do impose some kind of blockage. There's other routes and other trade acts that Trump can draw on to legitimize the tariffs that he's putting on. So even if they do block it for this reason, he's just going to cite some other different act that he can draw upon in order to legitimize the tariffs that he's putting on, and then we're back at square one all over again. So even if that does happen, there's still other things he can do if it doesn't go to the Supreme Court, like I think it could.
And I think the biggest thing here is just that if you're a corporate decision maker, you just sometimes don't know whether you're coming or going. There's so many cross currents of different things happening. We're getting trade deals, tariffs are being adjusted in real time. It's hard to plan as a company right now. We've heard that on some of the conference calls as well. And I think that's the biggest impact. Tariffs aside, it's more lack of certainty as to what do things look like 1, 2, 4, 5 years from now.
But do you think that represents an opportunity when certainty starts to return, like as the uncertainty continues to get removed? Do you think that provides a opportunity for more upside in some of these names?
100%. And in fact, if you look at policy uncertainty, it actually tracked very well with the VIX. So policy uncertainty peaked in April when all the craziness was going on. So did the VIX. And since then, overall metrics of policy uncertainty have been coming down. And with it, we've had this implied bid behind the market. And I think that's a continuing theme. I think you bring up a great point. As we see more solid policy outlooks, for what companies are going to be able to do with, say, China or India, Vietnam or South Korea or other key trade partners, I think that will be beneficial to those specific companies.
Okay.
And
That seems like there's going to be opportunity out there. Sorry, 13, get in there.
That's right. We've seen companies pull guidance for the exact reason that Marcus was mentioning.
We've seen companies issue 2 sets of guidance depending on what happens.
That's right.
So we've seen the whole gamut really there. PayPal, by the
guidance.
way, say again?
Sorry. I was saying Schrodinger's guidance.
Yeah, right. Depending on when and where you look will depend on what we actually guide. Here are the possibilities.
So far,
look, the last thing, Mayhem, I hope that this gets simpler, because the last thing that I'm going to do is try and figure out which position we're going to go at, what the eigenvalues of those are. I don't need to go into any of that stuff. Well, hopefully this gets a little bit more simpler for us as we continue. By the way, PayPal here sold off right out of the gate, but got bought right back up. I did notice that as this was getting bought back up, I started to see some call buying in here. Maybe it's some cognitive dissonance because I took a position on this and immediately got smoked on it. We'll see if PayPal turns around. Plenty of time on that. Now seeing PayPal puts come across the wire as well. So
PBM recapturing VWAP. Verify Me trying to recapture it. It's already got a couple tests going on there. PAPL finding support at 65 EMA. It looks like Open Door did get support at $2. That's trying to recapture its VWAP as well. ONCO is trying to recapture its VWAP, getting rejected at the time. SNGX finally coming back down to earth after putting in a couple of upper shadows here, losing VWAP, but trying to regain it. CVNA, Carvana, this is making another move over its VWAP, trying to hit that 410 high of the regular session, and SoFi is just ripping, making a new high of 23.68 now.
Wow.
Mayhem, question here for you. I don't know if you want to take this one. Mayhem, how do you feel about coin going into earnings? My instinct is that the crypto euphoria will crash hard, but not just yet. Any thoughts on coin at all?
I think that coin will probably do pretty well. But the question is it like some of these other stocks where it's sort of priced to perfection? Hood is probably the best analog for coin that I can pull out of my hat, just top of mind. These are stocks that are trading in that same meme basket, if you will. And I think that overall, they should show good execution and strong guidance. My question is, with a PE of 71 and, looking at price sales to 14 and all the other metrics that are grossly inflated, is that going to be enough? So what I would say is they need to provide an extraordinarily strong guide to keep people in this thing based on how it's priced. That's how I would look at it.
Okay, so this is really all going to come down to the guide then.
I think so.
Okay.
Because I'm not really too concerned about their earnings. I think they'll be fine there. I think it's really, can they keep the optimism going? Because this is a psychological trade at this point. Yeah, earnings and fundamentals are all sort of secondary.
We mentioned Hood.
Speaking of Hood, yeah.
Bull. That one, I'm still thinking that we might see a little bit more downside in this, but I'm really looking at the 13 to 13.10 area as support. Maybe even the 50-day SMA might provide support, but we're getting down to an area where I think support's going to start to kick in here, and then this price could finally turn around and go back up towards 18. So just waiting for that to all shake out. I still think there's a little bit more downside ahead.
Seeing some squeezy price action in AVXL, Anavex Life Sciences Corporation. Looks like they got some good news this morning too. Early treatment cuts Alzheimer progression by 20 months. So that's helping to unlock the squeeze, but you got 30% of this thing's float short.
Carvana new highs. It just broke out of the flagging formation that was putting in the regular session here. SoFi new highs as well. And Hood is ripping right now.
This AVXL, 25 days to cover in addition to that 30.5 short percent of float. So you're absolutely right about the squeeze here. This did pull back a little bit, but maybe watch this one, 1250, your upside level to break there.
Yeah, this one's got a pretty decent chart. As long as it stays above the 20-day, I'd be looking for continuation.
Okay, 14 also looks to be a pretty important level up there.
PEs don't matter when theme and growth are hot, and we are seeing that in a number of names. Jay, good morning,
We're
Robert.
living that.
Great to see you. Yeah, we're living that. That's a good way of putting it.
That's what happens. That's the only explanation for why Nvidia kept going. I think it was just so hot. Oh yeah, Generac has been great. Remember when we started talking about that as soon as hurricane season was on the verge of beginning? That's been great so far. Costco looking good too.
Yeah, as I was saying, Costco ripping out of the open here.
And with weather patterns becoming a bit more volatile and power grids becoming a bit less reliable because of demand, Generac has some serious tailwinds, I should say, moving forward.
And they're very good on the seasonality too. Like as soon as we start getting into the throes of hurricane season, that just has really good seasonality all the way up until the end of November.
Makes a lot of sense.
Oh, and I'm helping them too because I bought one last year.
There you go.
Yeah. And yes, great job, Robert. Doing well with GNRC, and you're still holding Huntington Ingalls. That's great.
Oh boy. There's a complete trash REIT that could be a short squeeze. It's Medical Properties Trust, MPW, with 35% of its float short here. And it's starting to look like it wants to make a move. I'd love to see it break above the 50-day. If it could do that on a closing basis, I think it could surge. I don't want to buy this thing and hold it for any period of time. It is a horrible company with horrible management, but squeezes, we got to kind of suspend all of that consternation and just trade what's in front of us.
That 200-day SMA lines up pretty well with some resistance areas going back to April and February. So looks like you could, if you do get a recapture of that 50-day SMA, 475 could be the next upside target.
Yeah, we'll keep that one on the radar.
Yeah, they happen to. Oh, wow. Okay, so your calls are for September. Great job. Let's see here. What else we have going on? So PBM still trying to deal with this 850 area. It's about where VWAP is. Looks like it's trying to push up away from VWAP. It's still getting support. Meanwhile, Hood continues to rip. SoFi continues to rip. CVNA just put in a new session high.
That thing is a monster.
Yeah. And we might be seeing a lot of window dressing today since this is the end of the month. Tomorrow we get monthly inflows. And then we enter some volatile seasonality in August. We're going to be whipping around quite a bit this month, I believe.
More sideways than anything else in August, yeah. Still nothing on FIG. I've got that in another chart here, Big Bear Hug. I'll mention it as soon as I see that first opening candle. Mayhem, just out of curiosity, do you do IPOs? Are you interested in Figma at all?
I do IPOs where there's a company that I want to buy. I haven't researched Figma as much as I probably should, but what are you guys looking at on it?
Yeah, so it priced here between 32 and 30, 30 and 32. I believe that the opening price looks to be about 33. The reason I'm interested in this is because I know that our price between 30 and 32. It looks like it's going to open at 33. We'll see if that changes. I'm interested in this because I know that we use this here at Benzinga. Well, I read on the preview for the IPO here that 94% of Fortune 500 companies use this. And then we had another, let me get his actual title here because he had some rather, I guess, provocative comments about how this is going to be the meme stock of meme stocks, frankly. Let me get you that exact quote here so I don't butcher it. Figma is going to be a meme stock beyond all comprehension. This is Nikita Bier. I might be pronouncing the name wrong. This is head of product at X.
That was an amazing ascent for him too. Like he posted, I think a year and a half ago that I would really love to be head of product at X. And they give a whole thread of explanations as to why he'd be qualified for it. And I think it was like 6 or 9 months later, Musk was like, come on board. You're the new head of product.
So his Twitter CV is what got him the job.
Yes.
Fantastic. I absolutely love that.
I do
absolutely
too.
Love that. You know, it's what's funny about that is I actually read an article. I don't have it handy here, but I read an article that most hiring managers or whoever's doing the hiring say that like some 90% of resumes are written by AI.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's nice to see that because that's probably not the case here on X. Those stats that I was giving you, 95% of Fortune 500 companies and 78% of Forbes Global 2000 firms all use Figma. Some of the major clients include Microsoft, Alphabet, and Salesforce.
Why wouldn't people use AI to write their resume? You have AI reading every single one of them anyway.
That's 100%
That's
exactly right. Exactly right. It's like, we're almost getting to a point where we have a sort of like AI outsourcing all of our interaction. I saw a really funny comic where like someone was like, oh, I can't possibly write a 2-page email to, really elucidate my idea. So I'm going to punch a couple sentences into ChatGPT and then it writes this big multi-page email. And then the lady that receives it's like, I can't possibly be bothered to read all of this. I'm going to put
Summarize.
it into ChatGPT and it pulls it back into those few sentences.
You might as well just sent a few sentences, cut out the AI there.
That's the zeitgeist of society right now.
Man.
AI is the arbiter between us now.
Skynet is going to take over. You heard it here first, folks.
Yes. And I am an AI, apparently.
Yeah,
That's right.
they're asking if you have
That's
a face. I was going to tell them it's 3D printed.
Perfect.
Sorry, MBIS here. Several of you have mentioned this AI name, this ripping out of the gate here. Unsurprised, considering some of the other AI names that are moving.
Interesting.
PAPL is getting some more movement here. New session highs, still not above the pre-market highs, but making some big moves here. ONCO not doing the same. Got rejected at VWAP. SNGX, that's got new session highs. Pulling off of that right now. Went up to 249. Carvana still going higher. SoFi still going higher. Hood still going higher, but pulling back now.
I'll tell you what, that SoFi trade, that's the trade of the day here. Izzy, what's your target on SoFi? Because we just got above this trend. I believe that's what this is. Yeah, we just poked above this trend line here that Mayhem was talking about. We continue to move away from that. SoFi here approaching 24.
Seeing some interesting sweeps in Hut 8 Corporation. Stock is presently trading up nearly 8%, but these sweeps are targeting $30. And let's see where that expiration is. That's going to be for October 17th. And the pattern on this thing is very interesting here. If it could break above 22, I think it's got some chunky room higher.
And you said 40 were those calls, huh?
30.
30. Okay. Now 30, that makes a lot of sense, right? Because this is clearly the high from the end of last year.
Yeah, a lot of supply up there too, so I wouldn't think it could be taken too much higher without some resistance. And also, I guess if it did what we're talking about here, it would start to invalidate the potential of a head and shoulders pattern as well, which tends to be bullish when there's that invalidation.
Yep. Oh,
VMRE.
you're right. Let me actually draw that on here. Sorry, 13.
VMRE finally getting some recapturing of the VWAP here. We'll see if this gets going here. It's got to trade through a lot of pre-market consolidation to go higher, but now it's starting to get rejected. But this is encouraging to see that it's finally trying to make a move over the VWAP here. If we can close this candle above the VWAP, may start seeing this trade a little bit better. But like I said, that consolidation from the pre-market, lots of supply to choose from, to chew through.
SLXN here looks like a big pop into a halt here, and I have the volume turned off. I was like, yep, that's on a ton of volume. SLXN popping into a halt. I didn't see any news on this. The stock's up 50%.
PAPL higher now.
Sorry, go
ahead.
Nope. Selexion Therapeutics announces new preclinical data revealing unprecedented inhibition rates of up to 97% in pancreatic cancer cells and almost 90% in colorectal cancer cells. So really good data here, preclinical data on some of its cancer treatments. I guess now I'm unsurprised that this thing has popped into an upside halt.
If that is something that they can manifest on a larger scale, that is wonderful news for all of humanity.
Yeah, it sure is here. Let's see. 13, I know we often talk about how, okay, so they got $6 million in cash here on their balance sheet, and I believe this was what, phase 2? This was phase 2/3 clinical trial. So they're still going to need money for that, huh?
Oh, yeah.
I would imagine they don't have any revenue, $6 million in cash. I mean, it might not be a capital raise right away, But yeah, eventually they will need it, especially if they're in phase 2. And you have to go and look and see what else they have in their pipeline, because that's just more cash leaving the company.
This did reverse split 1 for 15 2 days ago. Big time shout out there. Nice call, Rats.
It's going through all the motions of the reverse split, the NASDAQ recompliance, reverse split, capital raise, regain the dollar and the minimum market cap amount, and they're off. So they're going through all the motions. Looks like they have several different drugs that they're working on. One is going to be starting phase 1 the second half of next year, and the other is going to start their initial preclinical study in the second half of this year.
13, are you aimed away from your mic?
I'm looking away from it. So
okay, that's much better. Much better. I'm just making sure.
Yeah, so I'll just do this. So
that's what I do.
They've got other drugs in the pipeline they're working on. Some haven't even entered phase 1 yet, so they will have to raise cash eventually, unless they get some kind of partner to help bring in money or some private placement. But yes, capital raise will have to come.
Quick update on options flow. APP got some pretty big flow this morning, targeting the 410 strike for August 15th, just a little over 2 weeks away. And I got to say, I'm starting to like the way this chart looks, because it looks like it wants to reverse here, breaking above the 50 and the 20 recently, breaking above this descending trend line from the highs in February, and then drawing a second point in the highs in June. It looks like this thing is starting to get its mojo back, and 410 would be a pretty reasonable upside target for where this move could take us near term. It would also help us fill a gap from June.
Yeah, and this also, too, this to me here, especially with that trend line that you just outlined, Mayhem, it sure looks like this is actually invalidating the head and shoulders pattern, especially if it trades up to that 410, 430 area here. There are a number of you folks that trade app. Robert, looks like you're trading app. I think Yassine has been on this. I know Lion has been on this, although he's on vacation hiking in the mountains, so he's winning just on its own.
That's pure winning.
Yeah, pure winning here. APP gets good stuff there. On APP, I'm actually seeing some 500 calls come across the tape now.
Ooh, spicy.
That might just be kind of a shorter term trade, though.
The gap that you're talking about in app, you have the low from that candle that fills the gap at 413.23, and the close that day was 417.89. So could be in between those two, maybe like 415, but I like your 410 area too.
ALAB here getting a mention. ALAB actually approaching the recent double top that sent us on the down move down to 60. That looks like that's at about 147. Jay, I think you had said yesterday, right? If Intel investors had gone to the spinoff ALAB, they'd have been doing pretty well here. Looks like ALAB continuation here. ALAB having earnings in 5 days from now. That's going to be Tuesday after the market closes next week.
Lion is touching grass. SNGX, new highs now is 260. And looks like we got a pullback from PAPL. VRME back underneath VWAP. And PBM is halted to the downside.
Drew says he got one fig share in his allocation.
There you go.
Hey, at least you got one, Drew. Kathy, did you end up getting your allocation yet?
You can go to those shareholder meetings now.
With your one share.
Yep. Even a fractional share. Heck. So another one coming up on the radar here, EZPW. This is a pawn shop stock. Interesting stuff. But I like the chart here quite a bit. Bouncing off the 50-week, breaking above the 20-week, rising over 11% today. And this thing has got a reasonable amount of short interest, and it's not a super active trader, small float, so it could take a little while for this to be covered, maybe 15, 20 days.
EZPW. That's not the gold and silver pawn shop in Las Vegas that they made a show out of, is it?
No, this is like engage in offering pawn loans. So there's a lending side to this, and I think that's why that this is maybe getting some activity here, because we've been seeing a lot of these other mortgage companies and lenders get some attention. It wouldn't surprise me if we ended up getting some of those pawn shops as well. And then you also have the short interest on this as well, right?
Yeah.
Big time short interest. 21% of the float shorted, 12, almost 13 days to cover.
SGNX. Wow, what a call,
Yeah.
Tuna. The Tuna AI signal is popping here today. Ring that register on SGNX. Big move right there through 270, right here at the highs. Volume actually looks pretty good. Just make sure you get yourself paid on that one.
What is that? 100% runner? I'm just kidding, Smoke Tuna.
Oh, here we go. Kathy also saying, just looked, I also got 1 share of FIG. So let me ask you, we got 2 folks in here. I know we'd like probably a bigger sample size than that, but does this tell you that retail was kind of after Figma if you folks are only getting 1 share allocated?
I think so.
Yeah, to me, it seems like there were probably a lot of people that put in their allocation for that. I almost wonder I wonder how this is going to trade when it opens.
I think it's oversubscribed and it's going to pop hard based on what we're seeing, but we'll have to watch. But overall, I'm encouraged because there aren't really that many IPOs going out this, around now versus other IPO peaks. So it still seems like we're kind of early in that cycle as well.
Here we go with VRME. That just got another lift. Going through the consolidation of the pre-market right now. We're trying to.
Nice trade, Mo. You get a register ring for that. Jay saying, Ryan, read the chat on Yosh. The chat will love it. Where is that? Is there any chance you can repost it? I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it here.
Wow, what happened there?
But what did happen here?
It doubled, then it was like, nah, never mind.
That could be a big illiquid move too.
Yeah.
Nothing fresh on this one. Let's see what this is. Restaurant operator.
Those have been doing really well. Consumer discretionary coming back.
Yeah, except for Portillo's, the one I have. Yeah, Yoshiharu serves the perfect ideal ramen. Now I'm hungry, damn it. As well as offers customers a wide variety of sushi, bento menus, and other favorite Japanese cuisines.
That's why you said the chat will love it, because of the whole food element that we keep bringing up.
Oh, I get it, Jay. Good stuff.
And now we all want ramen.
I know I do.
I do too.
So what are we getting here? We're still getting some more upside out of SNGX. That hit a high of 279. Might be getting a little bit of a pull here. CDNA, that's coming back in a little bit. SoFi trying to make some more moves upward. Hood, after getting a pullback, we've rebounded. This is looking like it's trying to go towards 110 right now. Currently 108.25.
And going back to S&P, if we pull up that SPY chart with the BGL, you can see how it's just perfect resistance overhead, bumping our head on it over and over again, balancing out around this 6444.25 pivot on September S&P futures. But this is why I like watching that level, because it tends to be pretty decisive. And now we've got a pretty clean rejection there.
I'll tell you what, that BGL, the big green line, that's working here. So I should have kept going, Jay. It went from Japanese food to house flipping.
What?
Yeah, Yosh. So it changed its business model from Japanese food to house flipping. Okay.
Wow.
A tad skeptical on that one, Jay.
Can we throw some crypto AI and quantum in there just to kind of round it out?
What about
Sure.
houses in space?
Might as well throw in a partnership with NVIDIA and SpaceX while we're at it. We'll really get this thing kicked up. Market here pulling. Just you were just outlining the SPY staying under that 21 EMA. Look across the board here. NASDAQ and S&P both pulling here. PBM knifing, says Christoph. That trade done so far?
That looks like this could be. I mean, it's getting support from where it was getting support in the pre-market. So we'll see if that holds up. But if not, then yeah, this is probably going to end up coming down to where it was closing yesterday.
And market internals are not so great. Advancers 52.1% versus decliners 41% across all U.S. listed equities. So pretty poor breadth overall today.
Yeah, I'm looking at the advanced decline line. I've got that at positive 49. So it is at the high. It came from negative 1,000 there, but that also looks like it's topping.
Looks like we're getting some more upside here in VRME, chewing through the consolidation that it was going through in the after hours and the pre-market. Looking for some movement up above 125, 130. It looks like there's a seller in the series of sellers in the way from 125 to 130 right now. You
guys want to see some stonk violence? Check out Confluent, CFLT. LT down over 30% today post earnings. This is what can happen with these growth stocks if they don't achieve the outlandish expectations that have been priced in. This thing absolutely murdered.
Stiefel downgraded the stock from buy to hold and cut its price target from 30 to 21. Needham cut its price target from 26 to 24.
And we are now below the April lows on this thing.
Yeah, and we did trade beneath the August 2024 lows when the yen carry trade. We went beneath that too. The only other area that's lower that I can see is back in November of 2023. The low there was 1469.
Pretty much a perfect bear flag breakdown too.
Oh yeah.
So for folks out there that are playing these, just be real careful playing earnings and especially sizing into them. This is the horror story that can happen if you're not on the right side of these trades. And I say this because I know there's a lot of people out there excited to play earnings because they see the volatility. But, you know, this is the other side of that. When a company doesn't provide the kind of earnings or guidance that the market wants to see in this environment, and this is the worst for misses that we've seen since 2022, you're getting punished.
Careful with PAPL. It's starting to rise again. It looks like it wants to take out the session highs. Just be careful with this. It's on low volume and it's making some pretty spready moves, anywhere from about 10 to 20 cents. So just be careful with PAPL. This is also another one that has a low, very low micro float, under $1 million.
APLS, I'm seeing a number of repeat call sweeps here, all 100 or more contracts, about 35K per sweep there. This is a 25 call that expires in January of 2026. APLS reported earnings here today. Shares are trading higher after a beat here this morning.
I like the chart.
We are about 5-6 minutes away from the 10:30 volume leaves the market moment. So just keep that in mind. We are probably going to see some volume begin to leave the market. I think I'm probably going to be finished for the morning. This has been a pretty good morning, what with PBM, VRME, PAPL, SNGX, and a bunch of others having a nice run. But it looks like those are starting to come to an end.
Izzy here asking, Mayhem 13 and Ryan asking the whole group here, when is the buy level on UNH? Well, I think I don't want to speak for the other gentleman here, but I think what we're doing is we're waiting for a 250 test here, that actual value 248.88. If we hold that, maybe that's one of your buys here, but I'd actually be a little bit more conservative on that. I wouldn't try catching the falling knife. I'd wait for that to confirm. I think we had some levels below the last time that we talked about this.
Yeah.
Can't remember exactly what they are though.
Yeah. Looking at options, 250 is a really big level. Go ahead, 13.
Yeah, I mean, that 250 has been the target for a while, since before it lost 300. So this is really great to see where this ends up being a buy. Now, that's going to the way you do this for either a swing trade or a long-term investment. That's up to y'all. If I was going to be doing this, 250 would be at least where I would start. Not go full in, because I still think this could go lower. But 250, that was a target that I've had for a while. So at the very least, I would maybe take a starter position there. But I feel like this still has more room to go to the downside.
Yeah, it seems like it's just in a deeply, deeply troubled sector. And then the company itself is also deeply troubled. And that's kind of that double whammy that's hitting it. And also, for me, when I'm buying things for a swing, especially, I really like to see a shift into positive momentum. And we're just not seeing anything that even vaguely resembles that. So this is still kind of on my no-touch list. Pretty much the whole health insurance space is for now. But this company in particular just seems to be one that, you could try to catch a falling knife and get cut over and over again.
Yeah, and to your point, the upside moves here have not been any type of trend change. Instead, it's just been a dead cat bounce.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people selling.
Yeah.
They're selling that.
Oscar here, speaking of healthcare, Oscar here, this is actually having a positive day, up 3%. We did see some call buying on Oscar earlier here today. Looks like this has slowed down just a little bit, but to your point, this is still in that sector that's kind of out of favor, I would say. This is a Tim Melvin pick. Does look like it's at a support area, so take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, maybe
earnings,
it's putting
by
in
the
a
way,
higher
in 6
low.
days on Oscar.
Maybe it's putting in a higher low here. That would be the upside case. I'd love to see it break above this confluence area between the 20-day and the 200-day to kind of confirm that.
It's crazy how United Health is, it's been more than cut in half, and it could still get cut in half again.
Yeah.
Eric's asking if you have any thoughts on Micron. What was interesting is that we had a bit of a conversation yesterday about how tech hardware seems to be falling a little bit out of favor, and we're starting to see more favor being moved into software.
Yep.
And I think the earnings with Microsoft and Meta kind of gave us a bigger picture of that. So it seems like I think the seasonality for or the cycle for hardware is kind of diminishing, where software is starting to ramp up. So, and hardware will be back, but right now it's more on the software side that attention is being paid.
And it's tough. This is a company that doesn't really have, great margins. Their profit margins are 18%, and they're going to be shrinking as they sell more and more of this high-speed memory that costs more to produce. So even though there's, overall, like you said, long-term trajectory is still solid. If you look at this thing on a monthly chart, for example, it's still very much in a solid uptrend. But short-term, I think it could get choppy, maybe see some consolidation or downside across the memory space and even some of the broader semiconductor spaces that are less sexy, that are not directly benefiting from AI. Micron's just started to get into that space. They hadn't really executed well with the high-speed memory. Hynix had been eating their lunch for a while.
I would like to see it hold $100. You have the 20-month SMA right in that area too. This is also an area where previously, like last year, going into this year, it was having a hard time staying above that area. You can see from the monthly candles, a lot of upper shadows there before we got that Liberation Day unwind. Since then, we've been able to get back above that. Now I want to see this $100 level hold up.
Real quickly, was just thinking about, you guys are having that discussion there about hardware versus software. Just thinking about Broadcom here and what you guys maybe think about Broadcom. This has obviously made an insane move, a double, frankly, from the Liberation Day lows here. Broadcom, what are your thoughts on this one? I definitely think we need a pullback, but just so you're aware, one of the reasons I'm asking about this is because we talked a little bit about August kind of being a sideways month. Broadcom actually has tremendous seasonality starting at the end of August. So starting from August 25th to the middle of December, you get unbelievably good seasonality here. In fact, you get 100% probable win rate here, average loss of 0 and an average gain of 17.5%. So part of me is wondering, do you guys think that there's maybe some more room here on Broadcom, or better still, frankly, if we spend August maybe chopping around, moving sideways, maybe a pullback here on Broadcom? Does that make this an interesting buy for you?
I personally wouldn't want to be a buyer here. I'd be a buyer on more meaningful pullbacks. I think it is a little bit extended, kind of price to perfection. We do have earnings coming up, I think, in about a month. So that's another event, volatility catalyst to look forward to. But I on the one hand, will say they're executing incredibly well in AI, and they're scaling their offerings. They're their AI-centric processors that they're starting to get into to compete with NVIDIA, to also complement NVIDIA depending on how you're configuring your data centers. But on the other hand, this thing is extraordinarily expensive and priced to perfection. So any blip in their earnings or guidance could cause a precipitous decline, and that's where my concern would be.
I like Broadcom. I'm in it. I've owned it for some time, and as long as that 20-day SMA continues to provide support, I still think there's some more upside to be had. I agree that this thing does need to come back in. This is very extended, in my opinion. I would like to see a little bit of pullback here. Maybe bring the price down around 280. But I still think that long term, yes, this is going to be a great company to own. I do intend to hold this for a long time. But I do want to see some cooling off the price action. Ryan, to your point, I would love to see a lot of back and forth consolidation through the month of August. That would that'd be very good. I think that would we'd go higher out of that consolidation.
Okay, so it seems like here the consensus is a pullback on Broadcom to a support level might actually provide a long side trade there. Fair point about maybe not exposing yourself for that earnings print, which does look like it's at the beginning of September. I had that estimated around September 4th. Robert, did they confirm that? I don't have that marked as confirmed, but I can have our news desk reach out on that. It is going to be, so it lines up actually pretty well with that seasonality chart that I just showed you. I know that starts at the end of August. Maybe a week later, we expect those Broadcom earnings. So maybe if you wanted to not expose yourself to that, just wait for after the earnings print. But pretty good seasonality on that. Okay, good stuff. Let's hope we get a pullback here on Broadcom.
SNGX, this might, I mean, I don't know about the volume, but it looks like it's trying to make another session high. PAPL did make another session high. That popped up to 440. 448. Verify me. Looking to verify another upside move here. Trying to go back up towards 125. That's been some of the resistance going back into the pre-market as well.
129, 130, one of those areas to watch there on VRME. Joe's asking about PanW here. This is really kind of interesting action. PanW, great bounce yesterday. Some of the traders took advantage of. Today, however, though, we actually just sank again right out of the open here. We actually broke the lows, the intraday lows from yesterday here on PanW. Now, Joe's asking here, Joseph, sorry, is this acquisition really that crippling? Wasn't the PanW CEO on CNBC like yelling at investors yesterday, or am I mixing that up with another one, saying he knows what he's doing? Pretty sure that was this guy.
That usually works well.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, so maybe you're getting a reaction to that.
I like the idea of their pivot more into cybersecurity software. But I don't know that CyberArk is going to be the best acquisition. And I think the $25 billion price tag has some folks scratching their heads about this. And maybe that's why the CEO is on the defensive at this point, kind of trying to say, no, we really do know what we're doing here. But to me, it's look, when you're in a tech company, M&A is even more risky than normal M&A. Are you going to be able to integrate what you're acquiring into your ecosystem such that it's an accretive acquisition? Most of the time, the answer to that question is no. And you've seen companies like Cisco fumble more often than execute gracefully in M&A. So I think those memories are percolating in the minds of investors that are selling this thing down. Now, long-term, Palo Alto is a best-of-breed cybersecurity company. So wherever it bottoms out, I think it's going to be a buying opportunity. I just wouldn't want to be early in that process. I'd let this thing settle out, start to show us some positive momentum again before wanting to get too aggressive.
That makes a lot of sense. We're down here at a support level, but to your point, I do think this could push maybe into that 160 handle, maybe 165.
You know what happens there? Inverted head and shoulders starts to form.
Yep. And we also have the 20-month at 172.58. So what I'd be looking for, since this has been an area where the price has gone down and traded beneath and recaptured, I could see where we go down to 165, maybe even lower, and then the price turns around and recaptures it. Now, this is the last day of the month, so depending on how this day ends up could determine whether we close beneath or above this 20-month SMA. So just something to keep in mind. Here is the last day. Now, what happens tomorrow? Maybe we get some inflows that pulls us back up, but it still does look like we may end up going down to 65 at some point in August.
Here's your gamma chart for PanW, Mayhem.
Yeah, we've got that 170 put wall on PanW to watch as well. If we start to push below that, I'd be looking for continuation in rolling to some of those lower strikes we're talking about around 160, 165. But for now, we may get some support around 170. On the other side of it, call wall around 200. And you can see there's a lot more interest in downside protection on this gamma chart. There's probably folks that have hedged into this event, maybe even prior. Maybe they had some whispers that this was going to happen. But this is a chart that tells me people are more worried about protecting against downside than capturing upside in the current moment. And that's telling too.
Okay. That's really good stuff there. Really good stuff there. There you go, Perrycon. Looks like the bottom here, we're thinking 165, 170 currently.
And what's usually a good forward PE for a cybersecurity company?
I mean, 47 seems a little rich, right? Especially when they're on the
Yeah.
hardware side of things more. I'm that's a good question as to what the average is for the space, but I'm going to say that it should be in the current market regime, probably closer to 30, 35, which is still rich, but normal for this regime.
And since we're on the subject of cybersecurity and networks, Cloudflare reports today after the market close, and they have a pretty interesting chart too. We're actually coming up to some November 2021 highs. Very similar chart to what was the one we were looking at earlier that looked very similar to this. Can't think of it right now, but this could go up to 220.
This looks like Broadcom.
Yeah, Broadcom. This looks like AVGO to me.
Okay, I thought it was a smaller one that we were looking at earlier. I don't know, like one of the SoFis or one of the movers. I'm not sure, but
this is a monster, though. That what I will say, and this is in my forever portfolio and has been pretty much since IPO and been adding on weakness. This is a company that is executing in so many key spaces, whether it's cybersecurity, whether it's AI, whether it's helping to build out the cloud and the infrastructure that keeps websites online and protected from attacks. The CEO of this company, Matthew Prince, is actually a visionary. We may not agree with everything he says or does, but overall, he's more on the right side of tech trends than not. And that's one of the reasons I think Cloudflare continues to be one of those companies that even at absurd evaluations, when it pulls back, you just have to buy it.
Yeah. Yeah, because what are the options saying? Because if with everything you just said, it seems like this could certainly hit 220 on a good earnings report.
Yeah, let's take a look. That's a great question. Just pulling up those gamma charts for Cloudflare now. And it looks like...
Go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, while you're pulling them up, I can go with something here on PanW, but if you've got those ready, let's do it.
Yeah, 210 is the call wall for Cloudflare, and that would be what I'd be watching. You can already see interest rolling up, and this is the diametric opposite of the options chain on PanW. As you can see, there's so much more, I would say, fear of missing out priced into this thing. People looking for upside, even all the way to 260.
Wow.
Okay, and real quickly here, I was asking about PanW. First of all, Tess says, I'll protect my PanW stock at this point, but I think there will be a pop at earnings in about 2 weeks here. Tess, good thing you made a short-term trade yesterday to kind of lower your cost basis anyway. And then here for Palo Alto, CEO Nikesh Arora recently stated that, quote, he knows what he's doing, end quote, particularly in the context of the company's acquisition of CyberArk and the broader cybersecurity landscape. He emphasized that Palo Alto Networks enters markets at their inflection point, and he believes the time for identity security is now, highlighting CyberArk's potential to disrupt this market. So indeed, it looks like he was the one telling investors to stuff it. He knows what he's doing.
It's an interesting look. I mean, it's worked out for Alex Karp of Palantir, but it doesn't always work out for everyone all the time.
He will openly mock short sellers. Okay,
oh yeah, and Wall Street as a whole, and their analysts and everyone. He said, and it was kind of absurd with the way he was talking about short sellers and all that. When Palantir's short interest was like 4%, he was like, "Oh gosh, they're really causing all these problems, and they're all on drugs and da da da." And I'm looking at their short interest like, where are they? You guys are the ones. I mean, I was long Palantir and I'm still long. Yeah, and also though, the biggest supply addition is coming from the way they do stock-based compensation. That's the biggest overhead that was on the stock at the time. It wasn't short sellers; it was executives cashing in on options.
Real quick, just as an update here, I'll get you in there 13 on CNBC. They have the Chiron up saying awaiting Figma's first trade. They're talking about Figma. They got it loaded up on the board. So I think we're getting pretty close to ticker FIG opening for first trade here.
And as it was being pointed out by Webcoin, SMGX is knocking on the door of $3. We have some sellers in the way at $2.95. More volume. We can chew through all that on our way to $3. J. Rice mentioning CCJ. 2
huge sweeps in CLSK here. These are the 1450s that expire in November. That is going to, September. That's the monthly contract here. 2,300 in the first sweep and 2,300 in the second sweep. Those are 100K plus trades on each one.
It looks like
Good morning, Amanda. The market is choppy. I'm going to work out and nap. Okay. Have a good one there.
Plan.
That sounds like, I know. I was going to say I'm kind of using that myself.
Been a fun morning though, but yeah, it is quite choppy, and we are getting some coming in from some of these names that we're moving. CVNA, that's coming down to its 65 EMA. SoFi coming down some more. PAPL, after popping about 10 minutes ago, that's down to its VWAP again. BRME, now beneath its VWAP, coming down to the session lows again. So a lot of these things are really starting to come in. PBM, that was a great trade, but it is not so great anymore.
And we're looking at options flow and SPX pretty balanced across the most active calls and puts. The most active call strike trading about 42,000. That's around SPX 6440. The most active put strike trading about 37,000, and that's just around SPX 6350. You've got a really big gamma level at 6400. These big even numbers tend to produce those levels. I would watch that as key support today. SPX 6400, you don't want to see a close below it, especially if we get some less than ideal earnings from Apple and Amazon. That would set us up for some pretty chunky downside. But that big gamma level, for now, acting as a magnet, kind of pulling us down towards it.
Brian here says, serious question. Why does tuna never miss? This guy is on point all the time. SNGX was a pop. Well, there's a couple of reasons there. Number one, he's bright. Number two, he really likes stocks. Number three, he works hard. And number four, he doesn't make himself a victim. So because of all of those four things, he is extremely successful. His tuna AI signal here is printing winners every day, Brian.
And he keeps an eye on those 100% runners.
I was glad you added that in. I wasn't going to go there myself.
That's okay. That's fun. SNGX, this thing is now over $3, knocking on the door at 310, through it now, ripping up to 320, and see you later. SGDX above VWAP. We're also getting asked on PSIX thoughts. What's PSIX about here? Power Solutions.
I want to call it P6.
Okay. Let's call it P6.
Very agreeable today, 13. I'll take that.
It's easy. It just makes it easy. Geez, this thing has just been on an absolute tear since the Liberation Day unwind. Like so many stocks, when this thing starts losing its 20-day SMA, it might begin to go lower, but it certainly seems like it's trying to push higher towards 100. What's the let's take a look around the horn here on this one.
CoreWeave trying to bust higher here. That's been choppy this morning, but it looks like it's trying to go.
Balance sheet looks fine, has revenue, profitable. I mean, I don't think I'd be a buyer up here, but it certainly looks like a great company. I don't know anything about it other than it's does power solutions. But no, I don't think I would like it up here. I think it's quite extended. I don't think there's a lot of meat left on the bone for trade. Maybe an investment. I don't know. But if I was going to show any interest in this, I would want to see lower prices first.
Here's something interesting. Copper down 22%. Freeport
Wow.
is more and up 2%. Not often you see that combination.
Well,
in fact, probably. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, so Freeport, this really, okay, so this is up 2% from the close yesterday, but that basically closed on the lows here. We're still a ways away from where we started to fall out of bed.
Oh, yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if this ended up forming up a bear flag eventually.
Yeah, it's just interesting, just the contrast between the two. Copper was able to kind of put in a bit of a low yesterday. There was a lot of dip buying going on there. And then today we saw a pretty big continuation lower, breaking below yesterday's lows with a good amount of momentum here and a pretty high amount of volume the last 2 days. And the reason I also bring this up is all the industrial metals are taking it on the chin. They're part of those baskets that CTAs and other kinds of systematic traders tend to get into. And now they're forcibly de-risking out of that. A lot of folks getting killed in that space.
Real quick here, anyone that's into tokens and crypto, is this guy Dick in the chat here, is this for real or is this a spam comment? XAIX101.
Isn't that Musk's kid's name?
I mean, is that really what his name is? His name has numbers
Something like
in it?
that. Yep, it does.
Okay. Well, okay. Well, I guess it's better than Moon Unit. I don't know. In any
Is it?
case, is this? It wasn't that. Let me look that up. Def Leppard or something like that. Someone, one of those classic rock stars named their kid Moon Unit. I'll get that for you and I'll get back to you. But let me know. Is this guy for real? Is this
Yes.
something real or is this okay? Because otherwise I'm going to ban him.
Oh, I don't know if it's real. I was commenting on Moon Unit. So just to be clear, that's Frank Zappa's daughter.
Frank
Moon
Zappa. Thank
Unit
you. There
Zappa.
you go. Yeah. See, look.
Don't do drugs, kids.
Yeah, seriously, this is your brain on drugs. Frank Zappa. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let me know. Is there anyone in here that knows? That's probably a bot. I'm thinking so too, but I'd feel really bad if I ban a bot or if I ban a person. But should we do it like the Gladiator? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Okay. Permaban.
I'm the only AI allowed here, guys.
And this is for what? This is an XAI token.
I don't know. It's over. We figured it out. Thumbs down. 2 thumbs down. In fact, he's banned. Don't spam, kids. Don't do drugs and don't spam chat with a bunch of garbage.
Yeah.
All right. I just sent you something to just because I was kind of curious myself, but the deed is done, so you can look at it whenever you want.
Yeah, this seems like a scam to me.
Okay, fine.
That's okay. Yeah. Yep. Okay. Sorry about that, folks.
Back to Bitcoin.
Thank you for your attention to this matter. Okay.
S&P balancing out around 6,400 here too, that large gamma level we've been talking about since we started to see that pull.
Tess, you picked up UNH puts when? And congratulations if you got them before today. Not that today isn't also printing, but man.
Oh my, Michelle, I work at a Lifetime Fitness part-time and I actually have a child. And we actually have a child. Their parents named them Battle because their last name is Fields.
Jesus.
So it's Battlefields.
Please no.
No, she says that's the case.
That kid's going to grow up to play Call of Duty.
And not Battlefield. Take that. Take that. You know what's interesting here? So we have these big beats on Microsoft and Meta. Microsoft has retraced 50% of that move. You were just talking about how the S&P is coming in. So I still think we're in this environment where the news is getting sold. Now, Meta is still holding higher here for that, but it's early in the day. We'll see if that turns around.
Yeah, and I was mentioning how we could see a lot of the similar price action with these that Google did, where it gapped up and then it filled that gap that day, and then we started trading better. Like we traded back up, all the way back up to where we almost where we were opened on Thursday last week. So.
Amazon giving back some of those pre-market gains as well. I think it was up 3-4%. Now it's up just over 1% here.
Tesla at the lows here as well. This actually near the lows for yesterday intraday. Mayhem, good call there on Amazon. My question on Amazon, one of the things I had said earlier before you got here was that the cloud revenue, the Azure cloud revenue from Microsoft's report should bode well for Amazon Web Services. Amazon traded up yesterday in sympathy with that, I think. Maybe you disagree, but I think it traded up in sympathy with that. Okay, so now that we're getting a pullback here, does this set up for a potential earnings trade on Amazon?
I think so. I mean, I'm not one to regularly trade earnings, but if I was to put my hat out there, I think Amazon's likely to resolve higher. It has been a bit of a laggard, but also their cloud is firing on all cylinders. AWS is still a growth engine for this company. And I think what we're seeing from both Microsoft and Google, where, their cloud surpassed what the expectations were, sets us up for Amazon. The only thing about Amazon that concerns me a little bit is if we shift over to the e-commerce side of things, that Prime Day sale was not impressive at all. And we are seeing some signs that sales are slowing broadly across e-commerce, in part to do to the consumer kind of slowing down their participation in the economy.
Did we get because I know that last Prime Day was, I think, the longest one they've had.
Yeah.
Did we get an average day sales compared to last Prime Day's average day sales?
I want to say it was down 30-40% year over year.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's big.
And I think the reason they extended it is they were hoping that maybe just people were slow to participate this year and the extension didn't really manifest. Also, there's a lot of I guess you could call them fake sales, where the day before Prime Day, a company will increase the price of their product so that then it can show, hey, we're now
Yep.
lower 40%. In reality, it's like a cent cheaper than it was.
So I have a secret for that. There is an app or an extension, a browser extension that you can add to your browser called Camel, which will show you a price history for all items on Amazon and what people actually paid. So when they say this is on sale minus 30%, you'll have the price history. You know if that's rubbish or if that's good info.
That's really helpful.
Camel is what it's called.
Camel cubed.
Jonathan Cooper is saying that he mentioned to me that the MSTR has earnings call tonight. Sailor says this will be the most important event in the history of strategy. Join if you're interested on the earnings call. So he's looking for thoughts. It's been climbing back up. I have the 385 area as a support level, support and resistance. It's now support. I don't have a whole lot of opinion on strategy, and I feel like without more information, the biggest event and the most important event in history is a little ambiguous for me. So I need to know a little bit more about what's happening here. But I mean, certainly would love to hear from others on what their thought is.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that I think is a bit of a headwind for this is there's so many companies out there doing Bitcoin treasury strategies that now you have all sorts of different proxies that you can walk into that aren't strategy. Add to that, there's more and more availability of ETFs and other types of funds for people to get crypto exposure. So I guess the question becomes, do you want to just have your strategy be strategy if you can't directly buy some of these other crypto instruments, or are you going to diversify into a basket of, crypto treasury companies or even crypto ETFs and other types of proxies? I think that folks out there that are restricted from buying crypto directly also may see this administration allow more crypto products in retirement accounts. That's something they've been talking about as well.
Yep.
All these would be headwinds because the big pitch for this is you can get crypto exposure in places you weren't able to before. That window is closing.
And I'm looking at the options. Mayhem, you let me know if you see anything different here. I don't see a whole lot in terms of MSTR options here ahead of the earnings print. I'm looking at the option chain. There's plenty of volume here in the August 8th weekly contract. So people are placing their bets, but it looks distributed across both calls and puts.
Yeah, the options chain that I'm seeing is a little more call heavy near spot with a call wall up there at 430 and a small put wall down here around 400.
Okay.
And then a slightly larger one at 380. I would say that this is another chain that looks like FOMO. There's much more concern about missing upside than protecting against downside going into earnings.
Okay. Here, and that's, you actually gave that to me. Sorry about that. Here you go.
You're good. Yeah, so we could see that, that put wall just below price down there at 400, then 380. And then up above, there's a lot of excitement priced into those 430 calls. But overall, this is a chain that is much more call heavy near price. And that tells me there's people that are much more concerned about missing upside than protecting against downside, which to me is not a great look ahead of earnings, because if it's not exactly what people want to hear, you've got a lot of folks that are probably going to want to hedge out those calls by shorting shares.
Okay. Good stuff there. Micro strategy. We'll see. I have no position for this.
Maybe they're going to change their name again this time to be macro strategy, since they went from micro to
we went micro, then we went strategy. Yeah. Now we go macro strategy.
Yep.
And then ultra strategy after
and
that.
Then galaxy strategy after that.
Quantum strategy.
Oh, man.
Oh, there you go. That's the announcement coming tonight.
Yeah.
If they dive into, if that, oh my God. I'm gonna have a headache tomorrow if that's the case. Actually, no, I'm gonna watch a football game tonight and be smiling from ear to ear. Who am I kidding?
Polish Advil.
Markets pulling here. New lows on S&P futures coming up to the 6421.25 pivot, and just has a heavy look to it. If you look at this thing from a microstructure point of view, even from the pre-market session and now, it's lower highs and lower lows. Yep. That's the look of this market, and that's one that tells me there's probably some room for continuation lower, especially if we become a little more put heavy on the volume.
And you're seeing the exact same thing here in the Qs as well.
100%.
Yep. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%.
So this
Hey.
also at the lows here, higher or lower highs and lower lows. Sorry, 13.
No, that's right. Brian, I'll ask you one better. Why does a biotech company need a crypto reserve? Why do any of these junky names need a crypto reserve at all?
Well, the biotech one's a little bit easier, right? Because they often have no revenue and they want to have something on their balance sheet. So you might as well throw a crypto asset in there that's liable to gain 100% in a year's time. You can make your balance sheet look better while you're literally setting cash on fire.
I mean, sure, it could do that, but it could also completely wipe out all their finances that way too. I think it's just, going from a more stable fiat currency to high risk crypto.
Yeah.
That's kind of the way I'm looking at it.
I would really be concerned that if we have a big de-risking moment in crypto, what the broader systematic effects can be with so many more companies having indirect and direct exposure.
And Jay, nice call on CCJ. This thing continues to go low, now getting support at 74.03. Looking around here at some of these other movers we were looking at. Looks like SNGX went all the way up to 336 before it pulled back. Still getting some support around 285. ONCO, that's sideways. PAPL, that's kind of gone sideways as well, as has VRME. PBM, though, this went all the way back down to where we were closing yesterday. So that completely went round trip. This would be the area where it could find some support and maybe try to turn up. But PBM seems done for now.
Okay. All right.
Take care, Jane.
Yeah, take care of yourself, Jane. Enjoy.
Got a
Enjoy
real
the
quick
pool.
one.
Yeah.
To share with you all. Potential squeeze to watch here in AIRS, AIRS, Air Sculpt Technologies. The float is over 40% short. Pretty small float overall, about 11 million shares, with an average volume about 700,000. So this thing, if you do see a covering event, and it seems more likely with the way momentum is going here, could have some serious legs.
Okay.
It's interesting.
Yeah,
This is a company that does body contouring procedures to remove unwanted fat with minimally invasive procedures. So instead of liposuction, it seems like lipo blowing, because it's using air. So I mean, that's just kind of what I'm getting out of this. But it's interesting that this is the kind of company that it is. It uses, it's a body sculpting company, and there's been lots of insider buying. You have a buyer of 1 million shares back in June. EBS aggregator blocker.
and then some in May too.
Yeah. Interesting stuff. And then you have that high short interest.
Okay. Good stuff there. We are up against the clock. Mayhem, thank you very much. 13,
Yep.
Thank you very much. Any closing words from you boys?
Go for it, man.
Just always a pleasure to be on with you all. Interesting trading day, making new lows again here. So folks, please be careful out there,
Yes,
especially with some of these earnings plays. If you're on the wrong side of them and the companies don't meet the expectations that investors have, you could be punished brutally. So just words of caution from, us who have played this before and maybe decided not so much to play earnings anymore as a result of that. But awesome experience to be on with you all every time.
As
Thank you.
always, we'll see you next time. 13, any closing words?
It's great to be here with you, Markets, and you, Ryan, and everybody else here in the chat. We have great stuff, as always, every day. Looking forward to tomorrow, when we're going to come back here. We'll find some more movers. We'll trade them. We'll make some money. It'll be a good time. Folks, have a great rest of your day. Maybe go outside, enjoy yourselves. I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.
Sounds good, 13. We are going to have Mark Petrino tomorrow. Enjoy the football game tonight if you choose to partake. Stay green, stay safe.